the chest at a pool,
It's a wrap.
it's a wrap. Yeah.
You're like,
Imagine if I worked out though.
oh,
Dang.
people ain't ready for that.
It'd be
man.
over for
It'd
these
be a
hoes.
wrap.
It'd be all over for these hoes.
What's up, man? How's okay? Tell me about this trip you just got back from. Before we get into like our,
Well,
where'd you go?
it was wild.
Oh man!
No.
Hey, sign up $12.99 a month for the extra
For
details.
the OnlyFans. Let's do it.
I'm about to tax you right now. All these
Well,
no, I'm kidding.
well.
All right. Yeah. How was it?
It was great.
Yeah.
Weather was perfect.
You were out there for what? 5 days?
5 days, yeah.
Nice.
I feel like I've been going to Mexico like almost every 2 months. Oh, I went to Puerto Vallarta.
Puerto Vallarta. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you're from, where is it?
My family's from Jalisco.
Jalisco.
Yeah. Well, that's in Jalisco, but it's not where my family lives. My family lives in like their more Chapala area.
Yeah.
By Lake Chapala.
Yeah.
And so it's
I
about...
know. I remember seeing the pictures that you always put up whenever
I
you
was
go out
just
there.
in Guadalajara literally like 2 weeks prior to this trip. So I was there for like 4 days visiting family, and then I like came back, worked a week, and then made some money, and then took off again and did it again. You know?
Doing it. Summertime comes around, and you're on a boat, you're at the lake, and then your schedule busy, packed. You got your clients. You're at a very prime location. Does anyone ask you? It's be nice to be your own boss. Like if you're hanging out with friends.
Oh no, I hear it all the time.
Right. Yeah.
But what they don't know is that I could take all the time in the world off if I wanted to, right? But I also not gonna make no money.
Exactly.
So you have to be present in a self-employed industry in order to make money.
Yeah.
So if I'm just there one day, I'm probably not. I do know hairstylists. Well, I do hair, by the way.
Oh, what's your name? What do you do?
Hi, I'm Cisco. I do hair.
I'm Cisco. I do hair. That's more than that, man. You're so.
I mean, I do. That's what I do, man.
Yeah, but
let's keep it simple, right?
That's real. But you, man, like, there's a reason why you're here. Part of it was because you were with me since the beginning, frankly, since I started my own path, my own story. I started working on you, and you've seen me start from a shack, per se. Like I was tattooing you in a shack, in a room, and ambition was there. My drive was there, obviously. Like, this is what I was working for. I was working to this. And at the time, when did you start doing your hair? Like, tell me about that.
I started about 20 years ago. So I've been doing hair now for 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah, I went to college. I did the whole college thing.
Was this in the plans?
What, hair?
Yeah.
Was definitely not in the plans.
Okay.
I went to Fresno State for 4 years. And then one day I woke up and I'm like, why am I here? Why am I at college? I don't enjoy it. I was going to be a teacher because it was probably, in my mind, the easiest thing to do. And then I was like, I don't even like kids. I mean, I do, but I mean, I don't even like kids to deal with them for 8 hours a day.
I don't like
you know?
others' kids.
Yeah, there you go. Something like that, you know?
Yeah.
I just couldn't see myself doing it forever. You know, so my 4th year at Fresno State, I just said, I'm not going to school no more. And I dropped out. And, you know, I talk about it, clients and everything, and everybody's like, oh, you should go back. You're so close. You're so close. Go back. Go back. And I'm like, the only certificate I need is that license that says by the state of California, I could do hair here. That's it.
Yeah.
You know?
School wasn't for you per se also, right?
I did well, but
What were you going to do with it?
what am I going to do with it, even if I went back now? The only other time I've ever thought about what I would do if I couldn't do hair was during COVID. Because during COVID, like, we were shut down for like 9 months. So, you know, we're doing all this backdoor stuff, trying to survive and trying to make it. But,
Yeah.
I mean, that was the only other time that I've ever felt like my job was not going to provide for me. Because, I mean, you think about it, like, people care too much about the way they look, especially now. We're like in a society now that they're getting their butts done, they're getting their boobs done, they're getting their lips done. And not just women anymore, it's men also, you know? So the beauty industry is going to be around forever.
Yeah.
You know, forever. So I never thought that I was going to struggle in like making money because I had done well so long for 20 years. But that little piece in my life of like COVID really made me ponder, like, what would I do now?
All of us.
Well, yeah, because obviously we didn't know what was going to happen. But that was probably the only time that I've ever like worried about something like that.
Because at that time frame, we took that into our own hands. We had our own conversations in the shop, and I was saying, you know, we deal with some stuff that I'm truly like we have a big awareness on because we're dealing with blood. We're literally like neck to neck with medical setting, right?
Right.
But also you have blade, you're cutting into, you know, so being a barber and stuff, I mean, you're opening pores. There's risks in a lot of things. But when they mentioned what it was, I was kind of like, man, let's see, a week, 2 weeks, they say. That turned into look at where we are now, right?
Right.
And at that time, it was scary because I think a lot of us faced that challenge when we all questioned, what are we going to do? And that's when you contemplated, like, shoot, do I have to go back? Do I have to choose something else? What do I have to fall back on? It sucked because I was like, I have a facility to do this. And it's almost like you're telling me to go do it at my house. And it was like a lot of people were doing that. And I'm like, this is why I have a licensed facility to do this. And this is why
this is why we paid
this
to
is
have a
why
license.
and now I'm told I can't go to the place because I'm not essential. What makes you iconic? What makes you essential as a hairstylist?
If you're talking about work,
anything
like work or as
because I'm sure you hear it from your people to say, hey, I need this. I need my every week I'm gonna come see you.
I don't think that like because it was such a like a thing where people were sick and dying and all of that stuff, right? Like we didn't know what it was. So it was a thing to be like, hey, maybe this could be serious, right?
Yeah,
like maybe this is something that we've never experienced. So you went along with it. But then when you started to see stuff and even like stuff that the news was reporting and stuff, and you're like thinking, oh, that's scary. But I had to go get an x-ray done for a completely different reason. Yeah. Like a chest, like a rib x-ray. And then I went to the hospital where they were saying, and there was like, yeah, there was a tents and there was all this. And they were saying that there was so many people, but I didn't see that.
Yeah.
You know, so there was some doubt in my mind about that stuff. But clients, I mean, I had some good clients that were like still paying me the amount that they paid me during the time. And I appreciate those clients because they were like, you know, I've been doing their hair for 20 years. They would send me a check in the mail and say like, hey, I know this is a hard time. Yeah. I'm still working. Like, this is for you. Like, thank you. I appreciate you. And probably that was one of the times that I realized, wow, I mean something to these people.
Impacted. Yeah. Right. Like that honestly made you essential. And for someone to tell us not essential.
How do you pick that though? How do you pick that?
I didn't know that.
How do you pick that?
I couldn't answer.
I mean, I could be a sex worker and I'd still be essential.
Right.
You know, somewhere, right?
Some
like somebody would want to need me or something, you know? Somebody would want something. What is essential?
Right.
It was more of the question. Mm-hmm. What is essential and what makes you essential?
I know people that need what you do.
Right. Some people didn't care about like what was going on. They were like, well, I need my hair done. I don't care if I get sick or, you know, like they worried about themselves. They didn't worry about me. They worried about them. They're like, you put on a mask, you do this, you do that. And I was like, I'm all for that. Pay me, you know?
Yeah, all day.
Yeah, I'm all for that. I didn't have a problem. I'll wear the mask. Like, I mean, fuck it. I got to do what I got to do.
Absolutely.
You know?
So in your area where you work, how did the owner kind of get you guys together? Hey, guys, obviously you've seen the news. Obviously you see what's going on. Prepare yourselves.
Our boss was a champ. Yeah. Like our boss, and hands down, I couldn't honestly say that's why I'm still there. I've worked for her. You've been there
for how long?
I've been there for 17 years.
17
I'm probably one of the few hairstylists that does not
seniority.
Does not like. I'm a creature of habit. Like
that's right.
And I'm happy there. I can actually say that I go to work and I am happy with my clients, happy with my coworkers. My coworkers is like my second family. I spend more time with them than I spend with anybody else. Yeah, you know.
I can imagine that.
And the way our salon is set up, it's kind of set up pretty nice. So. You know, I mean,
it's top of the line looking, not pretty nice. It
got a little updated and stuff. Yeah, it looks awesome. Super good. But
awesome.
We also have a back door, so we did have people park in the back door and did sneaky shit like that. But our owner says it's totally up to you guys. Yeah, whatever you guys want to do. You know, she was struggling too.
Right,
we weren't paying rent, so I mean, if we weren't making it, she wasn't making it. You know.
Yeah,
and she's been able to be open for 18 years. I mean. Due to the fact that we've been there too. So obviously she appreciates us as well.
You're at State 4 year. You completed did you get your associates back? Like what?
I did nothing. Okay. I just went to Fresno State for 4 years.
So from there, how did this arise? Hairstylist. What impact?
I got a job. I worked at Table Mountain for like, from the time I dropped out of college. Wow. And then it was a lot harder to find a job with saying that I went to college for 4 years than it was if I had put no like college education experience. Like McDonald's wouldn't hire. They're like, oh, when they would respond to me as like, oh, you're overqualified. But that's not why I'm here. I know I'm overqualified, but I need a job.
You got a position. I'm out here, down to do it. Yeah.
Signed up for beauty school one day, and another friend was gonna do it too, and she didn't finish beauty school. I did, and then I just said, well, if I don't like this, I mean, I'll go back to school. I mean, like, I'm young. I could still do all of this stuff, and there was this like little point at beauty school where I was just gonna be like, I'm done. I'm not doing this beauty school shit.
Why?
Just like I felt like it was like being in high school all over again.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was a lot of drama and like some
What
of
school
those.
did you go to? Is it like Milan?
I went
or-
to Federico's
Oh,
here.
Federico's?
Yeah,
Okay.
I went to Federico's.
Because so Federico, the way I've heard is it can set you up into like esthetician.
I'm sure they do everything now, but it's
Okay.
like barbering, aesthetics, and cosmetology.
Cosmetology, like
Yeah.
overall kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah.
From Table Mountain, it just arose like you wanted to get into the beauty, the fashion, or what was it? Because you also,
I think I've always like the whole fashion thing like forever, you know?
Yeah.
And then I think this kind of just tied into it. I've gotten to do like some pretty cool fashion shows and stuff like that.
So I wanted to talk about that because I knew you were a part of some shows. Which ones, like, did you actually walk?
No.
I was
No,
gonna say,
I'm
did
not a
you model?
No, not at all.
Did you? And you didn't
I
tell
just
me?
did hair backstage.
Okay,
so that part
backstage.
for some companies and stuff like that was fun. So
Oh,
that
really?
journey was a fun part. But then you get to the point
Local
where
or in LA or something?
different,
Or?
different places. But you just get comfortable behind the chair,
Yeah.
and you start seeing the amount of money that's coming in. And at that time, when I was doing those, I was in the very beginning of my career, so I had a lot more time.
Yeah.
I just didn't have the money. You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't making money because I was new.
Sure.
And so anytime somebody needed help, I'm like, I got you. You know, I was like volunteering but I learned a lot from those people. I learned everything that I know today.
Because you're working side by side with a lot of.
Yeah, and some things that they'd be like, "Oh, do you know how to do this? Can you flap wrap a whole head?" I was like, "Yeah, sure I can." And I was like asking the next person, "What's a flap wrap?"
Yeah.
No, whispering. They're like, "Oh," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I could do that." I'm about
Yeah,
whipping
yeah,
it
set
out,
it
right?
up,
But I was
yeah.
like, "Okay, you know."
Dang.
So I mean, taking classes in different parts, you know, New York. Went to New York pretty regularly to take classes.
That's investing into your own career.
Honestly, since COVID, I haven't really done too much.
Well, I remember before you would tell me that, oh, I'm going to New York to learn from. Who have you learned from? What classes did you?
House of Bumble, hands down, is my favorite.
Okay.
Right now, I mean, till this day, we were a Bumble salon, but I started off with Tony and Guy TG. I don't know if it's still like bedhead, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I started off doing that kind of stuff, but then got into the whole Bumble and Bumble stuff, and that's been hands down. The education that I received there was probably the best education I've received. I mean, I take classes that sponsored, like Redken or different brands, like whatever. I was just in Mexico City in October for a beauty expo and stuff like that. But I mean, hands down, House of Bumbles was the best of my education experience. It was more like well, yes, you still paid to go, but I mean they made you feel like you were the celebrity.
Sure.
Like when you walked in, like it's all glamorous. It's like being on a set of Sex in the City, like you're literally there's a door guy, and then they're like, oh, take elevator 7 to the 7th floor. They're like telling you what you got to do, right? They sign you in, check you in. Oh, breakfast is on this side, and like then you go to your class, and then you're in this big old forum, and there's like a live model getting their hair done. There's some still shots. There's a video playing. So like for every type of learning, like if you're a hands-on learner, or if you're a visual learner or audio learner, like they cater to every education, which is special, because not everybody learns the same,
Yeah, exactly.
And then break for lunch, snacks, all that, and then go up to the 7th floor. There's a model, a mirror with your name on it, and you're gonna do what you just saw them do.
Wow. Stations.
Yeah, but it was crazy because I mean, the person next to me could have got somebody with straight hair, and then I got somebody with curly hair, and I had to make it look exactly like the person with the straight hair.
So that had a lot to
it builds your strength, and like you find out what your weaknesses are as well, but they help you address them.
What inspired you to do that? What did somebody?
My Bumble and Bumble journey started at Estancia.
Okay, but they told you? Did they push you to go, or how did that?
The owner kind of wanted me to go.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm still doing this whole bedhead thing.
Right.
Maybe I don't want to go, right?
Yeah.
And I was so used to going in, and I was
Comfort.
I was like judgy when I went. Like I was judgy. I was like, oh, they're using hella product that is her hair is gonna be so disgusting, right? Like I was all like, literally in my mind, I'm like ripping them apart, right?
Yeah.
Like. And then I thought I could blow dry hair, right? Like I give a mean blow dry, right? Like the volume, everything, right?
Yeah.
And then I got there and stuff, and I was like, oh, I don't know nothing. Like I really don't know nothing.
Wow.
So I mean, it was an eye opener for me
Humbling,
too.
huh?
Yeah. Oh,
Get humble.
very much.
Sit down.
Very much.
Be
Yeah.
humble.
It was real bad.
That's awesome, man. Industry inks have been around for a while, and recently they expanded their pigment range. Everything from your primary colors, opaque grays, brand new anime skin tone, bright neon fluorescent tones, gray wash set, and black lining ink. If you haven't yet tried out this high quality pigment, head on over to industryinks.com And with your order, you can take advantage of a special promo code using Out Loud for an exclusive discount. Try out their new range for yourself, and thanks again for the partnered sponsorship. So Becca, there's another story. I want to get us all together because that is awesome how you brought her in here and she just didn't leave me alone.
Talent knows talent.
You know, hey, she didn't leave me alone, kept persisting. At the time, I was kind of like burnt out by a lot of it was kind of like, imagine someone's going to come up to you and teach me how to do hair. That's vast. That's vague. That's like the spectrum is wild on that topic.
I've had 3 assistants.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And only one of them has succeeded.
Wow.
And she still works with me today.
So they've actually...
They're on their own now. Wow. They're on their own, and she's very successful. She makes her good money. Like, you know, she's also married, so she doesn't have to work.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
How long did it take her, like, for you to say you've learned what I have to offer?
I think that she could have gotten there a lot sooner.
Okay.
I think, but at the time, she wasn't... I don't want to call her immature, but she wasn't...
The skills weren't to par.
No, her hair skills were amazing. She didn't have like the comfort, and she didn't think that she was good enough.
The confidence.
But
right?
yeah, the confidence, yes.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was the hair part. I think she had things on the outside of life going on that interfered a lot with her coming in. But then when that situation ended, I mean, she was on it. Wow. And like she literally went on her own. I'm like, yeah, it's time. Go do it. You know, like it's time, you know? Till this day, I mean, if I'm running like a little behind that I have like a little and she don't got a client or whatever, she goes, I got you. Like she already knows. Like it's one of those, like it's hard to be like, if you had an assistant and you know that your next appointment's coming and you want the next station set up, clean it up, do all this stuff. But they're over there chit-chatting with your other, you know, person you're tattooing instead of like doing what they need to do. You know that they're not on it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Work like, you ethic. Know, right? Work like if the color takes 30 minutes to process, she's looking at her own clock, not me saying, hey, go wash her out now. Right? She's looking at her own clock and getting her ready so that when I move the next one, she already got to my next person in the chair. Wow. You know what I'm saying? And she was on it.
That's a system.
Yeah, she was on it.
Wow. And she's a successful one that
she's very successful today.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
her name's Irene. She's
shout out Irene. So the thing with Becca was she stayed on it, and I was like, I think I was just up front. I was like, I don't know if I could if I'm in the position to I could teach you. Yeah. I could teach you as much as like I know, and from there it's all you. I think when we actually sat down, she'll tell you, man, like she was just watching, did everything I just watch. Sometimes I can't even explain what I'm doing, just watch what I'm doing. And she just eventually I started having my own the hang around guys over here, the friends or whatever from the shop, and some of the clients. Hey, do you mind if she does a little something? Yeah, cool. And I just had her. She was like, oh my God, sweating and, you know, her first tap. But
Spider, we remember Spider.
Dude, the spiders.
The spider.
Banging out spiders. Yeah. And then I'm like, hey, you need help? I gloved up. I jumped in there with her. I gave her such a different apprenticeship that I went through, and that is standard, quote unquote. Like, what is a standard apprenticeship? What is, you know, because my knowledge of an apprenticeship at the time, nobody wants an apprentice. There's no apprentice to be entering. So it's like someone in our industries are, would you say what? Like, I don't want to say saturated, but there's a lot of people in there, right?
Well, I think that like if I don't know if you guys have to go to school or anything for anything.
This is our school.
But like us in our beauty schools, they're like, oh, you're going to be amazing. You're going to be amazing because you came to this school because you did this, right? They feed you this stuff that is not true, right?
Feed you the dream.
And I literally remember we had this drag queen instructor that was fucking mean.
Yeah.
To everybody. Unless you were a boy and he thought you were cute, then he was nice to you, which he hung out with the barbers. He didn't hang out with the hairstylist. So hairstylist, he was too busy for us, right? Come into class, he goes, I don't even know why you're here. You ain't going to make it. You're not even going to finish beauty school. He'd tell people like to their face, like really mean things all the time. He goes, you're going to make it. He goes, I don't know why, but you're going to make it. Wow. And he was right. I did make it, but I don't think it was anything that he knew that I didn't do different.
No,
I just put in the hours, you know?
You had your own plan.
I still remember that. He walked into the first salon that I worked at because he knew somebody at that salon.
Yeah.
And he's just, at first I thought it was a fucking ghost haunting me because I could just see him from the reflection. I saw a corner of him. I felt like I never was going to deal with him after beauty school again.
Wow.
Like I didn't even go back to pick up my certificate. That's how much I disliked that man. Dang. You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, when I saw him in the corner of my eye, he's all, what? I didn't come to see you. I said, good. That's a good thing that you ain't here to see me. And he goes, I knew you were going to make it. And then he just walked away, but he was trading dogs with one of my coworkers.
Wow.
So, I mean, it was just, and I've never seen him again since, but
I
still.
wonder what puts people into that kind of mindset or that kind of demeanor. Like what's the point?
Well, I don't think he was happy as a person.
Yeah.
I mean, in being an adult and going to get suspended for school because he said I was drinking in the parking lot. Don't worry about me. Yeah. I didn't drink at school. Don't worry about me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that, like harassment from him, like, wanting to know what my sexual preference was. That's none of your business. That's not none of anybody's business, Those were the things I was dealing with on a constant basis. And then working at Table Mountain, super stressed out by their wanting us to have certain numbers, to do certain things. And,
what were we doing at Table Mountain?
I started out as a account room clerk, counting money. And then when I went in to decide to do beauty school, I tried to go in and I tried to get a better shift so that I could go to school more. Yeah, but they didn't allow that. So
how was your support system at home at that time?
Well, I still lived at home with my parents, so my parents were very supportive.
That's awesome.
At the beginning, my dad was like, "Well, you ain't gonna live here if you ain't gonna go get no job, and you ain't gonna go to school." He goes, "I wanted you to go to school." He's like, "I didn't want you to go." And I don't think he was too happy when I first started doing hair.
Yeah.
But then when he saw that I was happy and I was doing well for myself, from my immediate siblings, I'm the first one to buy a house. I'm the first one to do, I've traveled and done more things in my own circle of family, now I'm the first one with tattoos in my family.
Did you break that through the whole tattoo?
I broke everything in our family. I broke every rule that possibly could be broken in that family,
Yeah.
And I know my dad was not very happy with all of them, but I mean, at the end, he did tell me that I was the one that he knew was the strongest of all of his kids.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's something strong to hear, huh?
Yeah, you did. It was the day that he told me was the day that, that was the last time I saw him. So obviously, he got that off his chest. So I'm glad that he got to get that off his chest.
What's up, Tattooing Out Loud listeners and viewers? A quick shout out to Helios Tattoo Supplies, one of the newest sponsors for the podcast. I'm proud to be a sponsored pro team member using their needles on the daily. Thanks again to Helios for sponsoring myself as an artist and sponsoring the pod. Now back to the show. How much family's out here in the Central Valley of yours? Because a lot of people are back in Mexico, right?
Yeah, my mom's immediate, I have family from my dad's side, but very little.
Yeah.
And then on my mom's side, most of my mom's side is half and half.
They're both from Jalisco? Or?
Yeah, both my parents are from the same town in Jalisco.
Oh, okay, so then if you do go, it's a huge reunion, right, for you? And
not from my dad's side, that. They're almost non-existent.
Okay, got you.
But he has a few cousins, and they'll they know my mom, so they'll obviously, and then they'll be like, my mom will be like, oh, these are my kids, and they're like, oh yeah, shit the shit, but not really it's not like I'm like, oh, I look forward to seeing my Theo from my dad's side, I don't have that,
So it's more so your
my mom's side.
Yeah. And out here you guys have
my mom has a couple of sisters and a brother.
Okay.
Yeah, out here.
The support system was good. They kind of told you at some point, it's like, all right, well, they probably saw that, look, I want to go to beauty school. Can you guys help me out because I got to leave Table Mountain? Is that conversation ever come about? I still work.
My dad was not about that. My dad said, you figure it out.
You figure it out. So what did you do?
I figured it out.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
I mean, what do you do? I figured it out.
What do you do? That's right. Yeah. I mean,
what do you do? You figure it out.
Yeah. So, okay. All right. So then you finished beauty school. What was your move from there? That was how many years?
I still worked at Table Mountain for 2 years after I got my license.
Changed something
I did both.
I got you.
No, I didn't. I ran off for 2 years. I ran off of 4 hours of sleep.
Dang.
So for 2 years, and then I had a coworker who I worked with at the very first salon that I worked at, and he one day just told me, he goes, dude, you paid your dues already. Quit your job. And we went to a hair show, and we were out of town. I was like, no, I got to be back at work. He goes, we ain't even going back home tomorrow because we had carpooled. And he's like, we ain't even going back home. So you have two options. You either quit or you're going to get fired. So he goes, it's time, right? And I called, and I just said, hey, I quit. And they're like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I quit. And then that was it. And it was a scary thought because I was getting a paycheck.
How old were you at the time?
At that time, I was probably 25.
25 and
maybe 24.
This whole time in your life, you're used to the plan.
Or a paycheck.
The paycheck, yeah exactly.
The direct deposit.
Right.
And then my hair money was more like play money because I really didn't realize that that's why I was broke.
Yeah.
Was because I was spending as I was making,
Right. I'm just thinking about how scary it is to fully commit. Look what you're doing. Had you not have done that and like, no, I need to go home. Like,
I'd
man,
probably still be there a
isn't
little
that
bit
crazy?
longer. Yeah.
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 How things plan out, man. It's
Yeah.
pretty wild.
That guy was very good to me.
That's
I feel
awesome.
like I'm as successful because of him.
I feel like there has to be somebody in our life, in our past. It doesn't matter you still talk to him or not. Gave you that push that you needed to hear.
It's really weird because, like, I don't know, some people don't believe in it, but I felt like I was at the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
In beauty school as well as at the first salon,
Yeah.
right? I'm still friends with a lot of the people from the first salon. And I mean, we still don't see each other as often, but we do see each other. But there was a girl in beauty school that told me, oh, the owner knows about you. She wants you to go work for her and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, me?
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, who knows me? Like, nobody knows me, right? Like, I'm some kid from Fresno, right?
Sure.
And so I went to this interview that she had, this girl who was going to the esthetician program told me to go to, and I went. And she literally, she's funny, she's an Asian lady, and she made me turn around and she wanted to look at me, how I was dressed and everything. And she goes, when can you start?
Wow.
Like, it was more based off of how I looked than how anything, if I could do hair or not. She never asked me if I could do hair.
Wow.
She just looked at me, which is
Straight
super funny.
looks.
Yeah, super funny, right?
Dang.
And then I actually still work with that girl from aesthetics.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with her at that shop for a little bit. And then she went, opened up her own shop, and then she had things going on. And so then she ended up coming back to the place where I'm at now. So, like, I've literally known her my entire hair career.
Yeah.
And then recently, another girl that I went to beauty school with, who was an esthetician too, came back into my life. Like, all the people from, like, beauty school or whatever, like, that made it in our industry,
Yeah.
like, came back. And now we all work together again.
In your industry, how is reputation? How would someone know you? From like,
I think I'm very fortunate, and I think that, like, people who know me because of word of mouth,
okay,
as opposed to now where there's social media and you can create this fabulous video
mm-hmm.
and still do crap hair,
Yeah.
right? What I'm saying, like editing, lighting, everything,
Yeah.
and getting that one, like, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like consistency was it. And it's also like consistency and word of mouth of clients.
Did you
We didn't
ever-
have social media back then to
Right.
start it
I
off.
know. Yeah.
You
That's
know,
what-
we
that's
had
all.
we had
Yeah.
social media, but we didn't use it for that purpose,
No, it
right?
was
Like,
different.
it was different.
Yeah. There's a big transition in all the industries now, and the demand and the pressure of evolving industries.
Everybody's always like asking, like, how come we don't post all this stuff? How come, like, I do have a hair page, but by the time I remember to do something, like, I get so involved in what I'm doing, like, I'll start it, right? Because I know it's going to be a project, so I'll do, like, the before.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, thanks, you're happy, you love it, have a great day. And then my next appointment's there,
Yeah.
right? So I never got the after shot.
Yeah.
Right? It's not that I didn't think that I did a good job on that person's hair.
just
I
your-
just never, or
Yeah. You're in the.
I did the ending and I didn't get the beginning, right? So
Well,
you don't really see it. Could have
Yeah.
been, they could have walked in with fabulous hair if I post them, right?
Right.
So, I mean, it's just different. I have like 2 clients I call my signature clients, right?
Yeah.
Because one, she's a lady in her 70s, but she's the most beautiful, beautiful lady in her 70s I've ever seen in my life. Like,
Like
when I say,
soul and-
yeah,
yeah.
but her looks, even at 70, are striking. She dresses so immaculate. Like, she's just, everything about her is just like pristine. Like, the way she dresses, her shoes, her makeup, everything, right? At 70. But
Right.
she has this, her natural hair is like silver, but it's like a white silver. So it's just like perfect, right? And she came to me because she said that she could not find somebody to do her hair the way she wanted it. And I said, so what do you want? She goes, well, I want it shorter on this side, longer on this side, stacked in the back with black hair underneath. I want black on the bottom. She says, I want my bangs jagged. And I'm like, okay, so why can't they do that, right? She goes, you tell me. She's, so I knew she was testing me out, right? I'm like, and so I walked her through the entire haircut. Like, so you want this shorter? Like, where do you want it to fall? Like, you know, you have to pay
Details,
attention to those
yeah.
details, right? Like, you can't just sit there and do it. I can see her at the grocery store. Like, I've ran into her at Costco like a couple of times, and she's not even looking at me, and I know it's her. I can walk up to her and know that it's her with her back facing me because I don't think
Just
that there's
that.
anybody else that has her hair.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's just perfect, right? So I just color the back when she comes in. Like, the coloring part, doing the color part is super easy, right? Separate the hair, color it, make it easy. But then when we get there, and we've been going shorter and more asymmetrical and more asymmetrical, and every time she keeps asking for, she started off with longer hair and now it's super short. I mean, her face and everything, it just fits her so well.
What is it that makes it difficult at that, for this example? Like, what is it?
I don't know what made it difficult for anybody else because I didn't think that that was difficult. Like, I literally enjoy doing her hair. Like, it makes me happy.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird. Like, she comes in and they're like, we talk about it. We, just the color's the same. Yeah, the color's the same, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And then, what about the haircut? Oh, yeah, just go a little shorter on this side. And then she goes, but it always grows out and sticks out. Like, she tells me the things, right? I feel like that's all you got to find out is find out the things
Talk
that people
to
don't
your-
like.
talk to your
Like if I
client.
came in to get a tattoo and then I don't like the color red, and then you said, okay, well, let's make this red, right?
Yeah.
And you make it red. It's not your fault. I didn't tell you I didn't like it red, right? So if I know what you don't want, I'm not going to give you that, right? So I don't feel there's a way that people can be unhappy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's communication between the client. I mean, you don't know how many times I've heard the same thing.
Well,
Where it's like,
sometimes if you like repeated what they said to you and they're like, I don't want that. I'm like, but that's just what you said,
yeah,
right? And then you said, okay, so what don't you like about it?
confirm.
Right.
Yeah.
So you just reassure them and then you repeat what they've told you, because sometimes they don't think that. Like sometimes they'll read something out of Vogue and it says, oh, women with slender face, short hair, blah, 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 blah. And then they think that, but that's not for them, right?
Yeah.
This is someone that's categorizing it for that particular person that they showed on that picture, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes there's false expectations.
Right. And part of it also is your experience, I'm sure, right? Because
Well, yeah,
a lot of it,
like you got to look at hairline, like hair growth
everything.
pattern.
The social media aspect. Did you find a time that it was like you've got the pressure or like anxiety, or it's like you're kind of trying to feed this social media beast of what you hear? Because we are, like I said, evolving and turning with the times. Like I said, this year was the year where I'm going to launch the projects I want to launch. Being a father, I clock out of here, I clock in at home. I try to turn if I get home, let's say like last night, getting home at like 9 o'clock, I don't go, and my phone could still be buzzing with clients, things. You know what I do? And I've been telling people, start journaling, start like writing things. And I'm not saying carry a diary, but I'm saying like literally like in your phone, my notes, I'll write my things to do for tomorrow. And I'm going to leave it here, so I could go home and be present, be there, be more involved. Like getting home, it's easy for us to like wake up, to turn off an alarm and stay consumed with the phone in our hand. And throughout our day, not making our time count where it needs to be counted. Like, so did you ever feel that anxiety? Like that whole pressure?
I feel like I have that anxiety more now because I feel like I'm in more demand than I can handle.
Yes. That's
right. But I do not, if I'm not working or like I was on vacation, I did get some messages and I just told them, hey, I'm on vacation. I'll reach out to you when I get back. Right.
Right.
But now if they know, like my regular clients know that I don't work certain days. And if they're calling me on certain days or texting me, because we live so now in the present and we're very reachable now. Yeah. Where, you can send a text message, you can send this like at any time of day, right? Like where there was an etiquette, like you never called after
Don't
7.
Call after,
Or that's non-existent anymore, right?
Who's texting you at 10 and 10 p.m.?
Now I just don't answer.
Right.
I don't answer, and then I pin them on my phone, and then I like literally get back to them with what I have available, when I can do it, But I feel more the pressure is, you say you go home and you clock out and you go with your kids and then you got to go be present. I don't have that. Yeah. So I don't have to do that, but I feel like.
But your personal time.
No, but that's where I struggle with, in the sense of like, I feel like you've had like a whole day of people throwing their emotions on you. Like in the sense like people come in here for memory tattoos and they tell you the situation like, blah, blah, blah. My son died. This person, this is a memory tattoo. And now you're invested in the story, right? And you're invested in like, trying to make them feel better or hope that this makes them feel better or whatever. And then like, you come in. I just recently had a client that was there from my very beginning of my career. And I found it the hardest goodbye to have to say when she passed away of cancer. And she's still young. She was still so young, It was not something I wanted to hear ever, But I do have the text messages where she and I talked. And I knew that the last appointments that she had missed because she had gotten worse. And she literally was just, in the last text message, she said her goodbyes when she was still good before she was put on hospice. She sent me this message. And I mean, I cried. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I cried when she sent me the message, everything that she said. And then when she goes, hopefully the next one I make it, right? That was the last word she said. Text her for her next appointment because I never took her off my schedule, right? And then her husband says, hey, I'm sorry to inform you, we officially put her on hospice. Yeah. Thank you for everything you've done for her. She loves you so much. She's very weak. She can't say nothing, but this is stuff that she had already had me tell you. So I had just gotten back from another trip, so I was all happy. And then I get this text message. And even now, I'm just like, I still tear up because
Yeah,
she was
it's
so
hard.
special to me,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Those kinds of things, like you never forget those people, but you take those things home. You take that energy home, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like of people, and dead silence is good for me sometimes when I get
Yes.
home, you
Yep.
know, because you still hear all this chirping from the salon. You hear all this chirping from like your coworkers. You hear all this chirping from like everything. And then when I get home, I sometimes don't want to talk to people.
Right.
So I do sometimes feel like it's affected me in my personal life because I don't want to hang out with people sometimes, you
Yeah.
know. But then when I'm out, I'm fucking fun. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
But you know, sometimes you just gotta have to decompress and like let those things go. You know?
Right. Yeah, it does. It's hard to, because again, that's kind of why I like to note it and jot it, shut it, leave it down, close shop, go home. Like our business and like our business doesn't turn off.
Right.
We can't just clock out. Some people clock out, they get home, turn on their TV, sit on their couch, eat, and they just chill. And because they know they've got that schedule where it's routine, where they're on autopilot, it's every day, same thing. With us, we have to match energies of clients. Their energy, we have to match a vibe. They're coming in. There's some people that I almost hesitate booking because they have like these days of our lives stories. And I'm like, man, this is a funk. Like I'm having a good day. And like you said, if my kids are with me this weekend, I'm like, I don't want to go home to this, or I don't want to like have this affect me and have to project this onto like, our loved ones. Or if you're hanging out
And you may not even know that you're like doing that though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I know
like you with
we're
your
so
kid,
oblivious to it sometimes because it's
like people say like, oh, if I agree to go to dinner with somebody and then I'm just quiet or whatever,
what? Oh,
and then
yeah.
they're like, are you upset? Did you not want to come? And literally I didn't want to come at that point now, but I had already committed and said yes, you know?
Sure. Yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard to. I've seen it, like you said, affect, and to be better about it. So now, yeah, I've tried to just, I call it out, and I'll be like, hey, don't bring your mess. It's like,
I mean, I hear it all. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say here. I hear the affairs. I hear like
no, we all do.
I hear it
It's
all.
We're in the middle
right?
of it. We're like the bar.
And you know
like
what
bar
day?
talk.
Like really, the day that I went to my client's her
service,
service, they had like a nice ceremony memorizing her and stuff, and then hearing people say stories. Like it was weird to hear names and hear stories
You're like,
because
I know that person.
yeah, I knew that exact story that they were talking about. So I was able to go up to her sister and say, I knew this story. Like, hi, you don't know me. And then she looked at me and she goes, I do know you. And I go, you do? And she's all, yes. She goes, my sister always told me that there was going to be a guy with tattoos at her service. And I said, really? And she goes, so you're Cisco, right? And I'm like, yeah, I am. She goes,
cool.
She was very descriptive of all of the things that she talked about. But those stories, I would laugh, I would cry when they were saying these stories, but I knew these stories, which was really weird. And these were people that I had never met in my life. Like I knew she had two group of college friends. Her college friends when she started college, and then her nursing college friend because she was a nurse.
Sure.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that, and I knew those stories that they had said, which was very weird. I've never seen these people a day in my life. They don't even live here, because she was originally from San Diego, So obviously it was like really, really cool experience to say like, oh, I am her secret keeper. I do know all of these things. These are people that she randomly came into my work 20 years ago wanting a hairstylist. Yeah. And I was a new hairstylist. At first you talk about like, now they tell you, how long have you been doing hair? And I'm like, oh, forever, girl. Right. When at the beginning you're like, oh, a few years, because you didn't want to be the new one because nobody wanted the new guy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Everybody wanted the person with experience.
Yeah. And it's cool because like you said, you're the secret keeper. That makes you essential, that because
I guess
you impacted.
You made that.
Exactly.
You asked me earlier and I didn't know how to answer that.
Exactly. That's what
and
I wanted to
hear.
hear.
Put it into perspective right
That's
now.
what I wanted to hear because that you made an impact on this this lady's life. Like we've impacted many lives. Sometimes we don't realize it until we hear it and we see it. And that's what I wish people would see, this side of it, when they're like non-essential. And I'm like, dude, people need this.
Well, not only that, but I also think that people don't realize too that we are human and that we do have emotions and we do have feelings, right?
Yeah. And our outlets, they need to be, they may not always be a, how should I say it? We need to keep it in a positive, we need things like this.
Well, I don't think anybody ever comes and really says like, how are you today? What's going on in your life? How are you today? They're just so like, okay, I want the same thing. There are people I'll be like, good morning, how are you? And then it's just simple, but they don't like I'm not saying that they don't genuinely care, but I'm just saying like is it
Like small talk?
yeah, it's small talk,
Small talk or is it
opposed to
real?
like, yeah, like you could be having a bad day. Like
Yeah.
there are clients that be like, oh, you're a little off today. Like what's going on? You're quiet, you're not your bubbly self. And I was like, my dog died, because my dog just did die, right?
Sure,
And
it's
then they're
like,
like,
man.
oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then there goes a bouquet of flowers to work.
Right.
Right. I'm like, well, I better tell my emotions all the time so I can
Dang.
keep getting like flower arrangements and
Getting
stuff,
showered on.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your first tattoo?
It's non-existent now.
Oh, what?
It's covered up,
Oh,
yes.
snap.
Yeah.
Okay, where was it?
It was on my arm.
Okay.
It was a little tribal like this, like about this big.
Wait, when did you get it? What year?
I was 16. I should have never have gotten it.
Okay.
My parents went to Mexico. They didn't take me. I was a rebel.
Were you mad about it? I'm gonna go get a tattoo then.
I wasn't
Or
mad
no?
that they didn't go. I knew I wanted a tattoo,
Okay.
but like I feel like I've always had that bad boy.
Right.
I'm a nice person, but I always feel like I have
Deep
like
down
that.
inside.
No, deep down inside, I'm a nice person too. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I just know I've always had like that.
Right.
I'm that bad boy. I'm not that,
What year was it? What'd you say when you got it?
No, because then I got to age myself, and I don't want to
All
do
right, let's
that.
not age
you
you.
know?
Let's not age you.
Let's
Okay,
just say it
first
was
tattoo.
plus at least 30 years ago.
Okay. So
Yeah.
then, in the era, your first tattoo,
It was tribal because tribal tattoos.
tribal
were
was
very-
hot, and then you started getting work on your arm.
Yes. I actually did my chest first,
Your
part of my
chest.
chest, and then you did the other part of my chest like years later.
Yeah.
But when I did like I liked this one because it was little, but
Sure.
I felt like it made me look cool,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
But then after,
What'd you
like,
cover it with?
with the sugar skull.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're Sugar Skull King.
Yeah. Yeah.
If those of you that don't know it, Cisco has.
Actually, I'm not. I'm the rose king. I was all queen.
Oh,
I was a rose king. I have more roses on my body
Do
than
you?
yeah.
Wow.
Somebody has actually tried to count them, but then we start talking about other things and they get distracted, or other things are happening. But yeah,
That's like, wait,
roses.
we gotta keep going.
roses.
Okay,
Yeah,
roses. Okay, roses. But then aside of that, you have your skulls. You
yeah,
have,
definitely skulls would be next.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Tell me about like a lot of inspiration of your tattoos. Did you ever some of it relate back to your culture, heritage? Because I know a lot of people say, well, it doesn't always have to mean something. And no, yes, all my tattoos mean something. But were yours just kind of like your own preference, your own?
I think that there's only two that mean something to me.
Everything else is just
Everything
like
else
moment.
is just art.
Okay, art.
I don't think that it's not art that you're gonna have or she's gonna have or anybody's gonna have. It's
Sure.
I keep hearing like, oh yeah, Lamborghini doesn't have stickers on it, right? Like I'm like, well, I don't got stickers on me either. Like I put it in, like literally,
Yeah, it's true. It's kind of inspirations from things that either you went through to maybe. What drew your attention to the art that you got that you're wearing? Like,
Well, I just think that no one else will have it.
okay,
Like you can go and buy that picture,
sure,
right? And someone can come pay and hope maybe get something similar.
yeah,
But I don't think that anybody. I feel like wherever I go, people always stop me for the tattoos, and like they have tattoos, but I feel like theirs are more like one big piece that goes together, where mine
yours
do
were
not.
like because you have your legs, right? Your
I
legs.
have all of this leg, my ribs, most of my back, this whole arm, and then part of this one.
What was our first tattoo that we did? Was it? Do you remember? Was it the raven?
Yeah, that was the first one actually. This one,
Okay. How did you agree to let me tattoo you? Do you remember that?
Alexis.
Oh, okay. So that's how I knew you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But that's a lot of vote of confidence, huh? Just to be
Well,
like,
so I was going to this guy who started off this one, but then he was just not consistent. Like, and then one of the times that I went to go to him, like he literally says, "Oh, bro, I don't have paper towels. Can you front me the money for the paper towels?" And I was like, "Sure." So we walked to the little liquor store and bought a roll of paper towels.
was that a shop too?
He was at a shop, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then after that, he kind of disappeared. I don't know where he went. So, I mean, I just didn't. So I needed it finished.
Yeah.
And then Alexis had told me about you.
Yeah.
And then I was like, fuck it.
But you're getting done work. Who's all tattooed you? Like you've got by Audie and
Audie and you are the one, and Becca.
And
just the
Becca.
three of
Oh,
you.
that's right.
And
Oh,
then
cool.
him. And then I started this one?
Mhm.
No, it's this one. This one, another guy started it, but he got locked up, and then I never heard from him. So I just
Sick.
felt like at the beginning, I had like really shitty luck
Dang.
with people who tattooed me.
And then so yeah, I think that's when we got really close. I did
Yeah.
that piece. Did we do the hand after?
Yeah, we did the
And
hand.
then we blended together.
Yeah, and then we did the fingers.
The fingers. We went to your chest.
Yeah, we did the other piece of my chest.
We did leg piece. We did
Mm-hmm.
Was it the memorial piece on the leg or
Yeah, at the very bottom of
the
it.
very
Yeah.
bottom? What kind of plans have you always had for like you just want to be all covered?
Get tattoos actually. Like I got them in places like where people couldn't see them because I was gonna be a professional, like a work professional,
Yeah.
right? So that was why I didn't like get them in places where you could see them. But then when I like started working for myself, I was like,
Right.
why not? Right? The only place I don't feel like I would ever get tattooed is my face.
Okay.
My head maybe, but not my face.
Okay. Why is
Yeah.
it just profile? Not you don't want to mess the profile up. You don't want to get nothing like.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's big because I know some people are like, well, I'm getting mine removed for that reason because I was like, I don't know. I think one time I took Christmas pictures with the kids from far away where the camera was. It looked like I had four.
Imagine at
Dude.
family gatherings and your daughter-in-laws meet your boys and they're like, "Dad, your dad was a fucking cholo."
Dude, so the picture, the way the camera was set up, it looked like I had 4 eyebrows, and I didn't like it.
I think on some people they look very flattering.
Yeah.
On some,
I'm
but
keeping the size.
I'm not that person.
I'm just my
Yeah.
profile. I'm gonna get my high school ID picture back. I'm curious because of our culture. I wanted to talk about that. Our culture, how you were. I love how you appreciate your roots and you have so much. You keep visiting back, and when you're back there, I just know you're in a different love. You're in a different happiness.
I think that Mexico has been very, very good to me in all aspects of every place that I've been to Mexico.
You were born out here though, right?
I was born here in
When was
Fresno.
the first time you ever?
I went to Mexico my whole life. My dad made it a point to take us to
like,
Mexico
always- okay.
every year to go see my mom. So we were very close to our grandparents. We would go and spend a month with him every summer.
Wow.
So yeah, we were very fortunate to, my dad made it happen for us and he made us be a part of our family's life. So I feel like that's why we're so close to them.
Yeah.
Because my dad made it a big, big point. And I think that was for him because he didn't have a family.
Mm-hmm.
He made it a point for us to have one because of the way he grew up. He didn't want us to grow up
Right
like
the
him.
wrongs kind
Yeah.
of thing. Yeah. So
So-
when you started getting tattooed, you started kind of going back to Mexico where
Well,
they kind
you
of
couldn't
noticing?
see them at first.
Okay.
But now even my cousins in Mexico got them now
Oh,
too.
I was gonna say, do they have them all? Out
And
there?
they all say it was because of me.
So you're
I
one
was
that
the bad
you
influence
broke
on all of them,
again.
yeah.
You broke everything
Yeah.
into the family. That's awesome.
But it's like more like the third generation, not like my cousins that are it's like my cousins' kids
yeah.
that are getting tattooed now, not like my cousins my age. Well, I do have cousins that are here that are getting that are tattooed,
Yeah.
but everyone has said it's been because of me.
Yeah. And then so when you go back in Jalisco, what is it?
The only person who didn't like him was my grandma.
Really? What did she say about it?
She's all like, she told me, she goes, tan bonitos brazos que tenías antes. Y le digo, she passed away since like 2 years ago, you know?
Yeah.
And then, and it told, no están bonitos ya, Mama Lupe. And then she says, she goes, no, están todos marcados, ya no me gustan.
Raw.
I mean, she
like
just,
blunt.
yeah.
Blunt. I love that. Abuelitas are like that, man. You know, my abuela, both of my parents' side, my grandmas, they never said anything negative about my tattoos. I sat everybody down. I was in Dallas, so we're all in Dallas, Texas, right there in Fort Worth. Shout out to Dallas. I sat everybody down. My grandpa, rest in peace, was still alive, and I made it a pact to myself to go visit and be like, I sat my tios, my tias, my grandma, everybody in the living room, and I was like, look, this is what I do. But the way you can break down an AC unit, the way you know electricians, the way you know this, all my tios are like, and my tias, everyone's so, they're so like sharp, and they're invested in their career the same way. And I just wanted to show this is my investment in my own career, and I can take apart this machine, put it back together, have it work. I can tell you everything I've learned about pigments, needles, my passion. This is my art. This is but I made it a career, and so I think they knew that. But I just felt like I just want to clear the air.
I don't think that, like, I mean, I get that part of it, but I don't feel like I've ever explained my life to make anybody else happy.
Sure. No,
Like-
yeah, I get it.
I mean, I feel like even when I told my parents, like, about the first tattoo, when my mom saw it and stuff, and I was like, well, you guys made me mad. That's what I did. That was, like, my way of, like, getting out of it.
Yeah.
You know, not like it was, like,
Yeah.
and every time my mom still said, pero ya no te vas a hacer otro, right? And I'm like,
We'll see.
hi, Mom.
quick pause on our chat to give a big thanks and shout out to today's sponsor, No Numbing Cream Tattoo Club. There's a lot of controversy that surrounds the usage of numbing cream during a tattoo session, and I totally understand. Every artist has their concerns. With No Numbing Cream Tattoo Club, they've crafted a unique formula that is effective, doesn't alter the skin's texture, and is completely safe. I've used it already in multiple clients, especially when we're doing those marathon sessions, and it really helps them sit comfortably. You could use it not just on tattooing, but there's body piercings, laser tattoo removal, laser hair removal, waxing, and permanent cosmetics. They provide an easy step-by-step instruction on how to apply. So if you're planning your next piece and know you'll be in the chair for a while, consider using No Numbing Cream Tattoo Club to make the experience easier for both you and your artist. Thanks again to No Numbing Cream Tattoo Club for sponsoring the podcast. Those of you listening or watching the video version of the podcast, I appreciate all the support that we've been getting from clients to listeners. You guys have been awesome. If this is your first time tuning in, don't forget to subscribe or follow the channel on any of the platforms where you catch your podcast so you don't miss out on any new episodes. All right, now let's get on with the show. Thank you again. What in Jalisco, what is there that you like to do out there? Do they have like...
when honestly, like, Jalisco in the Guadalajara area, I don't really know it as well, even though I've spent my whole life going there.
Yeah.
Because we would just go to the rancho with my family. And we'd go to the small towns outside, like Jocotepec, Ajiji, Chapala.
And that's like pueblos, right?
Well, where my family's from is called Huejotitan, and it is a tiny, like, you could walk it. And there's beauty and charm. Like, there's so much beauty. Like, you could be walking, and there's a home that they have, like, this whole altar for the Virgen de Guadalupe. That's so beautiful, right?
Is that something inspirational from
that's where,
Okay.
I had a lot of religious tattoos and stuff, like, done, prayers and stuff like that.
So the Virgen's really big out there. They have, like, what festivals do they have in Jalisco? Not festivals, but they have like certain.
They do one for pretty much every saint, and every town has different ones. But like, obviously, the biggest one is the one el 12 de diciembre, the Virgen de Guadalupe.
Virgen, yeah. And that's you've gone in summer and in Christmas time, or when you've.
I've gone in summer growing up, and then now as an adult, we would go in winter because my grandma's birthday her name was Guadalupe, and she was born on December 12th.
That was my grandma's name also.
Yeah, her birthday was December 12th, so that's why we would go and celebrate her birthday.
De las Lupes.
I've recently gone to Mexico City a lot, and there's this I can't even think of her name off the top of my head. She is a tattoo artist, but her tattoos are like, it looks like, the
stitch. Like
yeah,
stitching?
it's like it's stitching.
Yeah. Like,
and some of them look like it has like sequence on it from the stitching, like the artisanary stuff that you can buy in Mexico.
Yeah.
But I tried to schedule a tattoo with her like in times that I was going to be there, but we were off by a week.
Oh,
but I was a piece that I really wanted,
so
right?
Cool.
Like, I did really want that piece.
What would you get? It was like a patch of a sequence pattern kind of thing?
Yeah, it was a sugar skull.
Oh, okay, sugar skull.
Yeah, I was going to go get another sugar skull.
Would that be?
Yeah,
like,
but this one was I already saw the colors I wanted. In my mind, like, I see things.
Yeah.
Even when I'm walking and I see someone's hair, like, I see it.
You have an artistic, like, vision mind kind of thing, because what you do is, it does kind of go hand in hand with
something about like color works with me.
Sure.
Like, even if, like, for me buying something, like, I could buy a shirt and I'm like, oh, I got shoes this color that match perfect with it. Like, I mean, it's just color has always been working that way.
When you work with color with hair, does that also help? Or do you feel like, have you developed
color with hair is a lot different. There is science to it. So it's like, you got to do like primary colors, secondary colors, like you got the color wheel, like, all this stuff that you got to figure out. Like,
but so then you
cancel it out.
Your point of view as far as like have you ever drawn or painted? Or,
I did. Becca, referencing back, Becca and I, we met in freshman year of high school.
That's where you guys met, right? In high school?
High school, yeah. And then...
You guys drew together? Or?
Well, we would always get partnered together.
Okay.
She did most of the drawings, but I got in trouble with her for her drawings.
Oh, sure.
Because we were always together, and she was very explicit with her drawings.
Yeah.
So there was no sugarcoating a drawing, and we would get in trouble.
Sure.
But yeah, that's how... You've been to Mexico before?
Yeah.
What parts have you gone to?
Monterrey, Nuevo León is where we're from.
Oh, have you ever been to like Mexico City?
No, I haven't been to city. But our Monterrey is like that. Cavazos is kind of like the market.
I've been there. I've been to
Cavazos.
Monterrey. I've been to Monterrey.
Monterrey is beautiful.
Yeah.
Dude, I love it.
I have friends in McAllen, and
McAllen,
so
Texas,
they always, we go there.
Dude, Monterrey
pretty often.
is I miss it. Like, I'm trying to go there soon, and maybe tattoo in Teheran. That's where we're from. Cousins is working. She actually works at a tattoo shop and at a smoke shop next to the tattoo shop, and she keeps telling me, but our times, like you said, times are off. Whether my schedule with the kids vacation schedules. That's why I was like, you know what? I'm just
It's
gonna
actually
go.
easier. I mean, now because
Yeah.
we have direct flights out of Fresno to
No,
get
yeah.
to, Mexico now. But I mean,
Mhm.
it's a lot easier now than it
Yeah,
would
it
have been.
is.
But
Yeah.
like the flight to Monterrey is super easy. It's 3 to Dallas and then 2 to
Dallas.
Monterrey.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Direct,
where
you know?
my mom goes that way.
Yeah.
And so, but I want to go out there but I want to go tattoo in the town in Tehran. Like, I don't know. I have this vision.
But yeah, but the thing is that here, what we pay for either
Oh, I'm not
hair
even,
or
it's not
tattoos.
even money. It's not even.
No,
Like,
but just think about
yeah,
it though.
yeah.
People do have them, and like you do that. Some of them, like, I don't want to put anybody down, but some shitty tattoos because
Yeah.
it is you get what you paid for, right? Like my whole last trip, I was obviously not wearing a shirt. We were on the beach, blah blah blah. Everyone, where'd you get your tattoos done?
You're
Where'd
so
you get your done?
exotic.
I am. I am. But no, it's crazy
Yeah.
that everybody like I feel like there's people who have these beautiful extravagant pieces and like like they have that 3D'd on their
Yeah.
body and I'm the one getting more attention, but and mines are like bright. But I
Yeah.
have several types of tattoos on me
Right.
too. I have that
Yeah.
3D realism. I have the old style. I have like
Yeah. And I have friends that will send me messages por el face. They tell me, hey, when are you going to come out here and tattoo? And I've seen their work. They'll send me pictures. And it's like, yeah, man, who did that? And they're like, there's a guy out here. He's probably got, I don't know what he's using. But I just, I might set up a little shop out there someday and just kind of, just.
like hair out there, like the hair industry.
How is that? I was going to
It's
ask you.
amazing. Like,
Is it?
I mean,
Well, I mean, they had a convention out there. And
oh yeah, and they had the same product lines that we had here for the most part.
In Jalisco, do they have something in the pueblos, like a little, like, how does that work? Do they have little babies, like the salons or something like that? Like
yeah, they do, but I mean, it's not nothing like
they're.
it's not nothing like
Because I
it is
remember
for
in
here.
Tehran, the salons were tiny little, like, hole in the wall spots, but they have all the salon chairs. And then, like the big old school OG balls, like they put over the head and stuff. But that was like, I just remember walking by as a kid and seeing that. And I just imagine
I've never like been to in the like when we go to Mexico to see the family. I've never gone to any of that stuff. Like
Really?
if I did, I'd take my shears when I started cutting hair, and I'd cut my grandma's hair every year.
I was gonna say your grandma, man,
Yeah.
that was beautiful.
in
That-
her little house, her
yeah.
adobe house.
How was
still,
that?
like-
How did you? So did you just say, "Hey, I'm gonna go to Mexico. I'm gonna cut my grandma's hair"? Is that
well,
something?
no,
that
she
you
got a bad haircut. That's how it started. And
she
then
get
after that,
the-
she'd wait for me a whole year
got
and
the
not let
Traski.
nobody. Yeah, she let nobody cut her hair until till her last haircut.
So
that I
that's how it
gave her.
started. Like, oh,
Yeah.
well, you cut hair.
And
you cut
then
my
I
hair.
started cutting all my cousins' hairs when I would go, like the girls, like they would all want their hair done. And like, like one cousin, she was like shocked when I cut her hair in a bob.
Wow.
And then now she doesn't wear her hair any other way. I mean,
Wow.
and she's striking. That was the reason why. Like she had all the features to have it in a bob.
And you're just like, this is what you should wear.
Yes.
Yeah. What's your take on new clients and what's your take on, because I know you said you've never really promoted, you've never really done any kind of advertising. Or
Most of my clientele books out for the year.
Hmm.
So I put all those in. Come October, I'm working everybody in for the new year, and in there I've already taken off like my Cancun time, like my birthday time, like I've done Christmas, and I take holidays off. That's already out, and so whatever's left, I put my clients in. They book for the year, and then whatever's left from there for the people who schedule, like, oh, they don't want to schedule in advance, and then they'll be like, oh, I need something in 6 weeks, and then I'm like, well, I got 4, 5, or 7. What do you want? They don't really get that much of a choice anymore because they want 6, but I only have 4, 5, 7. What do you want?
self-made,
Yeah.
self-made, dude.
So, and
That's
then, I
pretty
mean, it's
wild.
very rare that I have a day that I get a lot of cancellations because, I mean, stuff does happen,
It happens. Yeah.
But I can post it on Facebook and be like,
Yeah.
hey, opening
And
this
just
time.
take
And
it.
then I ask them to inquire because what they want may not be what I have time for.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Time
So,
frames.
yeah.
Yeah. So that
But I still will make some kind of money. There's never a day that I go to work and I do not make.
you work
money.
every day? You have your Sunday, Mondays off, or what did you say?
I have a little bit more days off now.
Okay.
I just work longer days.
Longer days.
So I'm off 3, but I work for very, very long
like
days.
like
Yeah.
full back to
Like
back.
sometimes I
What
get
time do
home
you
at
start?
9:30.
What, you-
Usually 8.
8 in the morning?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And then
8 to 9.
30 sometimes.
Long day, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How's
So
your-
my breakfast, lunch, and dinner is at work.
Okay.
Like that's what I'm saying. I spend most of my time with my coworkers.
Yeah.
You know.
So it's like you better love weight. It's kind of one of those things where it's like
I honestly am very fortunate. Our
That's
owner
awesome.
Aaron is the best. The
Shout out
best.
Aaron.
Like Yeah,
Yeah.
shout out to Erin. She is
Yeah.
the
We'll
best.
put all the information too for
Yeah,
of
she's
the
been there
salon.
for
Yeah.
us for all of the hairstylists. I mean, times where, hey, I'm having a baby and I'm not going to be able to work and this, don't worry, we like she's been good to every single individual stylist or esthetician or
Yeah.
in their own way. No one can say nothing negative about her because she has been hands down the best. And I've been there 17 years.
Yeah.
Like if she closed down, I don't know what I would do
Dang.
because I enjoy working with my coworkers. I have like the greatest coworkers. My old coworker Wendy, who used to sit next to me, she doesn't work there anymore. COVID, she built a
Yeah.
salon out of her house in Reedley. Shout out to Wendy.
Hey, Wendy.
Yeah, and then now I got a new neighbor, Roxy. She's just as fabulous as like as Wendy was, and I spend most of my time with her because she's like right next to me. Her clients adore me. Like her clients bring her stuff and they bring me stuff. Like they bring me chocolates for Christmas or like it's weird. Like I mean,
Yeah.
all I do is talk to them and like, hey girl, how are you? Like, how's your day going? It's like
impactful.
having a big conversation. Or sometimes a coworker down the way will say, hey Cisco, didn't you say you did this? And I was like, oh yeah, I did. They're like, well, what do you think? And then you're having a conversation with someone like way across the room, like telling them about your trip, telling them about where you went, telling them where to stay, telling them where you should go eat, like,
That's crazy.
yeah, it's fun. It's like a fun day,
Yeah, that's awesome. Like from this perspective, like I'm comparing while you're talking, I'm just thinking how we are again, very alike our industries and how they coincide, and they're just like you said, it's you're there and it's a team, right? You're working with a team. Everybody has to. I'm sure you've hit moments where there's like the self-doubt or the things with not even yourself, just others, and that you see like, hey, like you said, I know you obviously care for these people, and it's like if they're going through something with like the mental struggle, because we all like the things that are going on today that we all face, right? With our balance and our like the stable, because you have to do this, and like you said, the outside world can't interfere. You have to know how to block everything out, or maybe you do this, and this is kind of like like once you're at peace when you're working, and you might have those moments where it's like, yeah, I have to keep it together for this person, or this person's kind of, hey, get back to work, or just don't let that bother you. Like, do you guys uplift each other and
oh yeah, for sure.
all the time?
I feel like I have a coworker who probably I see as one of the strongest people I know.
Yeah.
She lost her son, 17 months. He was already, personality, everything it was not. And she has 2 other kids, older. She still had to be a mom.
Mm-hmm.
How do you grieve? How do you grieve when you've lost your son? And, clients are like, yeah, they felt bad for her for a few months while it happened or whatever, right? Like,
Yeah.
but then she has to go back and she still goes to work every day. And, she's a little off sometimes, like not with her clients, but in the back with us, like, she's not as nurturing or whatever. I'll give her a big hug and I'll be like, hey, I'm thinking about you. I hope you have a good day today. And then she'll start crying and she says, how did you know I need that? You just kind of read your own people's, stuff.
Yeah.
But she doesn't realize that she's done more for me than I could do for her. I could give you a hug and I'll mean it. But like, she taught me how to be stronger. She taught me, and obviously a lot of other people, that you can make it. Like,
Yeah.
you can't hold yourself back in that one point in your life where something bad happened and do it. Like, yeah, is she ever going to stop thinking about her son? No, not at all. Ever. You know what I'm saying? Ever. She's never going to stop thinking about him. But no one takes the time to ask her, how are you today? January is the anniversary of when her son passed. I remember it because it's my older sister's birthday, 2 days apart. That's how I know. She's always a little,
A little off.
but she still goes to work every day. She doesn't call in and say, I can't make it to work. She doesn't. She goes. She has 2 other kids that she has to take care of.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Take care of business. Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you do? Someone like her, what do you do?
Yeah.
I mean, fuck, I'll eat top ramen for a week if I don't go to work, whatever, right? Like, I don't care. I don't have nobody that relies on me.
Yeah.
She has 2 other little mouths that she had to feed as well. And she's a great single parent,
Yeah.
an amazing single parent that she's done this all on her own, taking care of when stuff going on in her life. She took care of it,
Yeah.
when her son passed away, she took care of it. Like,
Had to
and
be
she still showed
strong.
up every day to work,
Yeah. There's things that we face that behind the scenes a lot of people don't see. And again, the personal life, the life at home, we're dealing with something, whatever it may like our. I don't know about you, but I'm sure it definitely affects your work, right? If you're going through something and it's like, why even work when it's kind of that little bearable?
I feel like when I went through rough times, like I wanted to be at work because if I'm at home, I just think about it.
I got you.
We're over there, but obviously, if like it like was leaked out or messaged like somehow, or they knew and they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry for when my
That's
nephew
kinda
passed
like,
away," and
yeah.
then I'm like,
Right,
and then
right,
you're
right,
like,
right.
that brings it back, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't talk about it, like it's fine, right? It's
Right.
kind of like when they say go to counseling, right?
Coping
But I mean,
mechanism
yeah,
or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any, what do you do for like, what's your decompression? I know you said like, hey,
silence,
silence. Yeah.
silence.
You get home and what's it like in the life of Cisco when you get home? Is it kind of like you had a loud day, 9:30 at night, and you have like
It's the my work days are kind of very, very. I'm a creature of habit. It varies the same.
Mhm.
Come home, talk to the dogs,
yeah, because you have your
give them a
pets.
little bit of love,
Yeah.
and then jump in the shower and go to bed and start all over again.
Yeah.
I'll go. I had been going to the gym. I haven't in like 3 months, but
Yeah.
like that was another thing. It helped
Yeah.
me decompress in the morning, but I had to go before work, not after work.
Yeah.
So I'm wide awake by the time I get to work, and then my whole day. And those long, long days like that, where I'm getting up at 5, makes me go to bed early.
Right.
So I mean, it was perfect.
Exhaust yourself.
Yeah.
And yeah. Do you ever find yourself that silence can be, did you have to learn to get home and like, for instance, your drive home might be like very low volume or no volume, like it's just a loud day or whatever, or you're just kind of like too many distractions. Did you have to learn to adapt to that to at one point? Because I know sometimes people are like, I've heard it from a client, for instance, they're like, yeah, I get home, take care of the kids, then work out, then go to sleep because I can't handle the downtime because then my mind starts racing. I mean, obviously everybody has their own like,
I mean, I feel like there are days where I can't turn off my brain,
yeah,
right? No matter
Mhm.
how tired I am, I can't turn it off.
yeah,
But I'm pretty sure we all have those
Yeah.
kinds of days. But no, for the most part, like I don't.
you're just already like,
I
you've
feel
got
like it's funny because everybody who sees me, even like my clients, like they'll be like, "Oh, you party all the time. You do this, right?" Like I'm like, "Well, actually, no,
No,
that's
I
not what I
don't.
do." But
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I post because
Yeah.
that's what I'm having fun.
right. Yeah. And that's kind of like your therapy.
But I feel like that's what yeah. Well, no, I don't think it's my therapy to go
I was
out
gonna say, like, what's your therapeutic thing to do with like
eat ice cream.
eat ice cream? Ice cream tacos?
Yeah.
Ice cream and tacos?
Yeah, that's actually you nailed it.
Yeah, ice cream tacos? Wow.
Like literally, it was the other night and it was cold and I was like, and I got asked to go out, right? And I was like, no, not today. Like I
Yeah.
just can't do it today. And I laid on the couch and I watched the movie and I had a little tub of Ben and Jerry's.
Ben and Jerry's?
Yeah. What is it? The Cherry Garcia. And I was
Yeah.
like, I literally was tearing it up, right? And I said with the blanket, I was like, dang, this is life right here.
This is
No
nice.
one's talking to me. I
Yeah.
can hear the TV. Like I'm eating ice cream. I'm warm. Like, what more do I want? Like, this is happiness right here. You know,
Right. Like,
I don't know
yeah.
about you, but like, do you ever feel like your tattoos are like not the same, but repetitive in the sense of like, there's a certain style that everybody wants that. And like, do you ever feel like you just get like, like you get trapped and you don't feel like it's fulfilling that, like your soul of what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Right. So like for
Yeah.
us, everybody wants a balayage. Everybody
Yeah,
wants a
yeah.
balayage, right? Everybody wants a balayage,
Yeah.
right? So you do the same thing repetitive,
Mhm.
repetitive, and you forget why you're in here for the artistic part of
Yeah.
the stuff, right? So
Yep.
then I like to travel. When I
Yeah.
travel, I find art and beauty in like
Yeah.
buildings or like
That's why that's why I even wanted to ask you about your whole investment into your own career when you started doing the shows and then being exposed to like the art shows or the beauty fashion and the hair shows or going to learn like right when you're going sitting down for the in New York and things like that. When I was doing conventions in the beginning, I sat down for seminars. So if somebody black and gray I wanted to watch and well-known artists, I would just sit down in their class and learn. And because I was like, I knew I'm gonna soak up game and not knowing what I'm gonna do with it. Like for instance, you probably went in thinking I'm gonna add this to my belt, or I guess what were you thinking when you went out there? Did you obviously I knew you were
yes,
gonna
I
learn.
did think that it was going to be under my belt, but
Yeah.
like now being in the industry so long, I don't
Mhm.
need a belt.
I got you.
Like if you need a medal or a patch,
Yeah.
like I don't need it anymore.
Exactly.
Right? Like, as long as I know how to do it, I don't need a patch.
Right.
Like now I just know, okay, this is what I need to do, or this is what I need to learn.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't need a patch anymore.
Yeah.
As long as I can execute it, I don't need a patch.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've figured out self-fulfillment where people are still like, good for them if that's what they're like, you
That's
know,
their jam.
if that's what they're trying to do. I love that for them, right? Like, but that's why I don't post on social media, that kind of stuff, right? Like, I know that wherever I go, I'm gonna leave it a lasting impression of some sort.
I guess with your question, yeah, it's your job to, for instance, they come in with whatever's the trend, whatever's the pop in hairstyle. They come in here with the trend, with whatever's consistent and not even consistent, like repetitive, right? And then I'll have to be like, how do you feel about this? Or do you mind if I add this to it? Or where do you want to place it? Okay, well, the picture you're showing me is on the forearm, but you want to get it on your ribs or your back. We should do this to accent this area the same way you feel about hair, and just say, this is going to fit your features. You have a elongated face, or you're like, no, girl, you got a round face. Like, this ain't going to work on you. I tell them, like, let's make something that's going to fit you, but not only that, but accent the area, and also complement, because it's like, think about it. This has to complement you for the rest of your life. So that area. So it's like, for instance, the stuff we did on your forearm, if you were to be like, hey, but I adjusted it to the area. And so I've done multiple tattoos that all look the same or whatever, right? Like, come in with the same idea. Let's say it's a Pinterest tattoo and it's common, it's trending. It's like, this is the 5th one this month, this week, whatever. And the thing is that now I'm very fortunate, like you said about your clients. All my clients are like my people, and I'm very fortunate for every single client that I have. And it's I had a buddy that say, hey, counting our blessings, like my blessings within the clients that I have, it's amazing, because they're like, this is what I want, run with it. Or look, I know you've done, literally some clients have admitted, they come in here like, I'm pretty sure you've done this before. This is my idea. I have no artistic skill or bone in my body. Run with it. You do you. I trust you. And I'm like you are the standard.
The chest at a pool,
It's a wrap.
it's a wrap. Yeah.
You're like,
Imagine if I worked out though.
oh,
Dang.
people ain't ready for that.
It'd be
man.
over for
It'd
these
be a
hoes.
wrap.
It'd be all over for these hoes.
Yeah, so I just love the people that almost come in here, they're like free-handed, or here's the idea. But yeah, I think the walk-in traffic at the time at one point, or I mean requests, people will contact me and they'll be like, they'll show me the repetitive stuff.
But do you feel like you get like people like, I would assume like how I started with the small one, like, oh, I want this little small tattoo. And most artists don't want to do that anymore. It's a waste of their money.
Yeah.
Or time, I shouldn't say money, but
time,
it's a waste of their time and money, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
But is it really though? Because what if that person comes back? What if I just did one bang trim, but then they realize, oh, he cut my bang so good, like, let me come back for a haircut.
So,
and then a color.
Yeah.
And then a repetitive client they become.
The way I see it with that, because you're right. Sometimes I'll be like, man, why am I even doing, what do you need me for if you can get this done anywhere, right? Like, for instance, you said it could be a walk-in client, or they reach out and they say, like you said, do you ever like question yourself? I'm like, man, I'm not even giving, like, I'm caged. I feel trapped, like when I'm doing this tattoo, because I could do more. And it's true. And I get that. So this is what I do. I stopped I don't want to say judgmental for the ideas because everybody, for the most part, like, for instance, you said your tattoos are all art or whatever, like that was inspiring to you. You wanted to wear it, like you pay the money to put this on you. Some client that reaches out to me or comes in with their idea, this means something to them. So I stopped I just did this yesterday. And what I do now is I'm like, let's focus on the experience. This is now your first time in here, first time getting tattooed by me. It's impression, because like you said, impression, experience. If I don't give that to this person, if they don't feel that, and that's just through my own, I guess, through the years of doing this, also from others, learning from others, the rights and wrongs. Like, for instance, if you learn from other people you've worked with in the industry, and you're, I just be like, okay, this is where this shop owner did cool, or like this shop owner taught me to do this. the rights and the wrongs of everywhere I picked up and where they maybe could have done better. But absolutely, this is a part of it that people don't really, I guess, highlight is this is it's about the experience. And so I stopped focusing on, oh, here we go, another,
Speaking about experience, like I tried to go get a haircut. Before I was like, I'd go get a haircut with my barber, Rick.
Yeah. Shout out Rick.
Shout out to Rick. I'd go get a haircut with Rick right before. I'd try to be like, oh, will you stay late for me? Like, like whatever, right? And I would stress out because I want a haircut to be out of town, right? But then like going to like Mexico and like going to different places, I was like, fuck it, I'm going to try it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go see what they're all about, like, right? And I've gotten some great haircuts in Mexico. Great beard. They do my beard. Like literally this haircut is from Saturday in Puerto Vallarta.
Nice.
Yeah. They do, Rick, you don't do the hot towel finish, Rick, when you do shave. So come on, step it up, Rick.
Step up the game, Rick.
No, but I mean, they give you so much attention. They give you, I mean, the experience is great, right? Honestly. Experience. But they don't make that much money. You know what I'm saying over there? And they do so much more. So I always tip them. That's whatever they charge me for the haircut, I give them that as a tip as well.
Sure.
I double it for them. That way it's worth their time.
That puts into perspective a lot of things though. What is it going to cost you more to give somebody that experience? Like obviously, okay, if I come to you like, or whatever, you come to me the first time and the first time I'm tattooing you was not a shop, but yet the experience, I'm still trying to project that or still trying to lay that down for you to just be like, hey, like,
I would find out what was weird about you first.
Yeah.
Like if you were weird, I would have already like, my mind just doesn't stop working.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm a pretty much good judge of character.
Right.
Like I can read people
yeah.
pretty well to where like, there are people that have not done nothing to me. Right. And I just say hi and bye and keep it cordial. And that's that.
Yeah.
Like I'm never mean, but I don't go outside of those boundaries of what I want as a friend. Right. Like I don't. And then there's people that I've met there when I went to Mexico City was 2 years ago when the 49ers played in Mexico City. That's what I went for. I went for a 49ers game in Mexico City.
How was that?
Amazing. It was that stadium is amazing. I mean, they were bringing you top ramen, cup of noodles to your chair if you wanted a cup of noodles, your beer. Yeah, they were like hooking it up, right?
Where did you get, where was your seat location?
Oh, we had great seats. I've sat closer at that stadium than I've sat at Levi Stadium.
Wow.
We were like 14 rows from the field.
Forgot about that game.
Yeah, that game was everything. Cool. It was like a Super Bowl in itself.
That's awesome.
They had bands, everything playing outside. Like Mexico did it big for the 49ers.
That's crazy. Huh?
And it wasn't even a 49ers home game. It was a Cardinals home game.
Cardinals.
Yeah, and they did it big for the 49ers.
Yeah, and they had like UFC fights out there and they bring it. Yeah. All the Hispanos and the
But you know why they do it so big though? Because it doesn't cost them the same as it does here to do all the stuff. Like,
So that being in our roots, you're built that way. It's wired in you to do this also, right? So you're carrying down
I'm first generation American, right?
Yeah,
like my parents are from Mexico, both of them, right? I don't see it third generation where they're like, oh, illegals, immigrants are crossing, blah, blah, blah. My parents were immigrants. So I still see it that way. My parents were immigrants and they got a fair chance. I'm where I'm at today because of their fair shot that they got here, right? Yeah. And then I hear and I read the comments, and sometimes I want to respond to every single person, and then I just was like, it's not even worth my time.
Yeah.
I mean, their grandparents or their great grandparents, or whatever came as an immigrant at some point in their life, and people are upset about it. Yes, should we have boundaries? Yes. Should we have all this? Yes, right? Yeah. But don't knock a person for wanting better for themselves.
Right.
Is all I'm saying.
Because look, two Hispanos right now are doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Two Hispanics they got the orgullo hispano, you know what I mean? And it's like you said, man, if it wasn't for our folks, man, we would, who knows what.
Just being in Mexico, like, these people go out of their way to make sure you're having, like, a great experience. Exactly. Like, you're not going to get that here. You'll get a shitty waiter, and you get a shitty waiter, and they expect a tip.
Yeah.
Over there, they're nice. And if you didn't give them a tip, oh, wow, you didn't give them a tip.
They're just, right? It's like their own genuine.
Yeah,
like
but they're like fucking nice, right? Yeah. I probably think that's probably like my best feature, and my worst feature is that, like, if I'm out, I want everybody I'm with and around me to succeed and have. So if I'm drunk, I want you drunk, right? Like, I want everybody drunk, right? Like, that's how I want it to be. Like, I have no, like, desire to be like, ugh, he's so much better than me, or ugh, I'm so much. No, I don't.
That's that's an example of the kind of people you should question in your circle if you don't have that. If you don't feel that from
I talk to
somebody.
everybody.
Yeah.
I talk to everybody of all walks of
Yeah.
life. I talk to everybody of all walks of life.
Yeah.
You
That's
know, I
awesome.
have zero desire. Like if, like I said, they give me a bad vibe. Like I'm cordial. I answer the questions, and
That's
then
as
I'm like,
far
oh
as it
hey, it
goes.
was nice talking to you. Got to go. You know,
Later
like
on.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, I make a lasting impression on every single person that I met. One of my last nights, we went back to a bar where we were at, and there was nobody in the bar, and we could have went to like a place that was cracking, but the manager and then the waiter that we had, I've had him 2 other times that I've gone to Puerto Vallarta,
Yeah.
and we shut the place down. He put a happy birthday sign up there on because he knew we were there in Puerto Vallarta for my birthday. So he put it on. He had taken the picture the night before, and when I walked in, he already had that picture playing. And he comes out serenading me with Las Mañanitas, and he had a good old voice.
That's crazy.
Mauricio had a good voice.
Shout
and
out Mauricio.
Yeah, it was. I had
That's
the time
cool.
of my life.
That's awesome, man.
You know, yeah, it was expensive, but I mean, fuck it.
What's your future looking like as far as what do you have planned? Do you have any more like aspirations of like going to a show or any plans to go to any more like new shows?
I don't have
doing...
anything lined up, but
right
I think
now,
I do
just...
want to do things more internationally. Like I want to go, like I want to explore different parts of Mexico.
Yeah.
I want to go and see that kind of stuff, like but do it there. So like I feel like now I'm gonna search for locations where I want to go and then find something tied into my
like
industry
specific...
so that I can like learn it and then have it.
Makes sense.
It's cheaper to go over there than it is to get an education here and to do classes here. Like here, it's like $1,000 something for a 1-day, 2-day course. You know what I'm saying? Where I can pay like, you know, $500 for it and stay in Mexico for like 3 to 4 or 5 days, you know?
Yeah.
Cheaper.
That's kind of like I should say like you're going to plan to do that. Or you're going to start planning to there because they have events, right? Like you just got to search for them and.
Yeah, like I want to go back to the one in Mexico City, but unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to go this year because my friend's getting married in San Miguel de Allende.
Okay.
That time frame. Yeah. So I kind of got to figure out if I can find something in San Miguel de Allende or if I'm just not going to do something.
Sure.
But there are, you know, certain instructors. Like I do want to go back to New York. And she no longer works for Bumble and Bumble. She worked for herself, but her name is Bronwyn.
Okay.
And she's one of the people who inspired me at House of Bumbles a lot.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, she's an amazing hairstylist with the razor. She can do amazing haircuts with the razor, right? Like
old school, like.
Yeah, like she's amazing, right? And I do want to, like, now that she's teaching for herself and working for herself, like, I want to go and take a class from her now that she's outside of Bumble. So that's one of the things that I do got to do. Maybe not this year, but I do have to do it from her. Like, it has to be from her.
I love it that you're still seeking that, like the knowledge training and still investing. Some people feel like they like the comfort. You kind of touched a little bit on that, but like the comfort, I'm good at where I'm at, or I'm good at my chair at my station, and this is it for me. But you're here, years of plus of experience, and you're still like, I'm still planning to go here. I still want to learn from this. I still want to, and I'm like, man, that's.
But do you ever stop learning? That's a real question. I mean, there's life lessons, even if it doesn't pertain to just work in general, right? Like everything. If you touch the fire, you burned your fingers, you know you're never going to do it again. That was a lesson learned, right?
Exactly.
Like just things like that. Like everyday life is a life lesson learned, right? Yeah. Things that you may not realize are life lessons. So like, why stop?
Right. And I
think that the biggest thing is that I realized that I'm doing me now. Mm-hmm. And I was not doing me before. I was doing what everybody else wanted and what everybody else expected of me. Yes, saying yes when I knew that I really couldn't for like, you know, clients and stuff like this. Mm-hmm. And now I'm doing me. So now I'm like, yeah, no, I can't. Sorry. You know, like, it's not that I don't want to. It's just that I was putting myself in a bind, stressing myself out, not eating lunch, not doing this, like working, you know, 14 hours in a day because they're going to fly out at a certain time, going in at 6 for that person, you know, doing that. I don't do that anymore. And now it's like, look, these are my hours. These are that. They wouldn't do it for me.
Yeah.
I love all my clients, but not all of them would do it for me. Yeah. So you got to put yourself first in certain situations too and be like, hey, you know, if the money's good and we're talking more money, but you want to pay me the same amount for me to come in 4 hours earlier, no job is going to say, come in at this time, but we're not going to pay you. Yeah. You're just going to get your regular pay, but you're going to start and work the rest of the shift. No job.
Right.
Like, I don't think people see it that way. They just think like, well, he charges this. No, I'm charging you for that time, but now I'm putting my extra time in and my extra effort into making it work for you.
Accommodating.
It's going to be a
Yeah.
little bit more this time,
Right.
you know? And that was another thing I had a problem like charging, you know, like, they've come to me for so long. And like, now it's like, girl, this is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, you want this, you want this, you want this, and you want this. Before you only wanted this and this. I can't charge you for the 2 things that we used to do. Now there's 6 steps in there. I'm charging you for 6 steps now.
Then you can now have them listen to this and hear your story, because they're not just paying for that time.
The times are different though.
Yeah.
Like, everything's expensive.
Right. Yeah,
Everything's expensive.
cost of
Before, back in the
supplies.
day, like the last maybe 15 years ago, you did either root touch-ups or you did a highlight, right? Now, there's a root smudge. There's, you know, balayage. There's like, you know, toning and all the stuff that we normally didn't used to do. We could afford to charge
Yeah.
less. But now when you're adding extra steps and it's, you know, not an hour and a half service anymore, it's not a 2-hour service, it becomes a 3 or a 4.5 hour service. And I'm only going to make like $100. Like, it just doesn't even fit for 5 hours of work. I mean,
Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
it doesn't make sense. So, I mean, I don't even think that they need to see this to know
Yeah,
that.
just to know how
I think that
times-
that's just the way it is now. And like, if you have expectations that you should pay this because you came to me for 20 years, then hey, there's someone out there for everyone.
Absolutely.
Like, no hard feelings. Like, I have 0 hard feelings to clients that no longer come to me or that go to someone else. Like, there's no hard feelings. Like, in this industry,
It's revolving.
I mean,
it's
eventually,
turning.
even like with you, a client's going to run out of skin. Then what?
Yeah.
Do you stop being their friend because they no
No.
longer come to you? Of course, you see them out, you talk to them.
Yeah.
You know, there's probably more people that you have more in common with than other people. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's people that, you know, you like them when you see them. But then there's also people that you don't see them, but you still like them and you want to like say, hey, how is it going? Like, how have you been? You know, kind of thing, you know?
It's back to that genuine, that whole, is it real? Is it like,
Yeah.
yeah, because I mean, a lot of, in positive ways, clients could also impact us. Like, we needed to hear something, or we needed to see, we're our worst critics, so we don't see the good that we're doing or the work that we're putting out. And someone's like, you need to hear this. Like, hey, Cisco, you need to hear what
It's
you
crazy.
do.
Like, you know, obviously I can only say that I've only had 2 very, very hard times in my life where like it impacted me to change my, like, not to change my life, but that did change my life. Like when my dad died and when my nephew died, the 2 people that I loved the most, right?
Right.
I had clients that were so supportive, who like made it about me, who like made me feel like I was just more than someone who was providing a service for them, you know,
Right.
who, you know, Amy, my client who passed away, one of them, I mean, was there so much for me as a person and seen me grow 20 years of my career. Like, yeah, I'm going to be like sad that she's gone. Yeah, I'm going to be sad that, you know, there was nothing I could do for her.
Right.
Does that make sense? I think that that's the part where I'm at now, that I'm grieving her loss, as I could not do nothing to help better her
Yeah, there's nothing in our power that could be done.
for what she went through. You know, yes, I know I made her happy with like doing her hair and that kind of stuff. And, you know, and I still do her daughter's hair. So I'm obviously going to see her daughter grow.
Still some sort of like,
Yeah.
tie
You know,
to
her
her.
daughter and her, and I did her daughter since she was little, her daughter's hair since she was little. And one thing that we always talked about, that when she went to go pick her wedding dress, when she gets married one day, that they wanted me there to go pick this wedding dress out with them, right? And her mom said, if I'm never not there when she was diagnosed with the cancer that she had, will you still fulfill this for us? It wasn't for her. It was for us. And one thing she says, what we're not going to do is talk about, you know, my cancer and tell me how like my cancer beat me, because it didn't beat me. She's all like, I don't want a pity party, you know? And even her celebration of life was not a pity party. You know what I'm saying? People like her that inspire you to do better, who made you feel better without you even knowing, who made you feel a much better human being. I mean, there's a bunch of crazy shit going on in this world to be adding to that.
yeah. Yeah, that's a standard that a lot of people need to consider and live by, and that mindset is.
I don't
like-
know. I feel like I'm happy where I'm at in life right now.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's very little, like, you know, people talk about me or say negative things. I'm like,
Right.
Sucks to be you. I'm like, I'm living life. Like, and
Oh, it's one-sided.
I can't pay my I can't pay my bills with your emotions, sis.
Real. Just crying, wiping your tears with your
Oh, I'm so
dollar
sorry
bills.
for you, my friend. Yeah.
I love that. You've been through some things, man. You've lived some life. And if you were to, because I like what you said about the focus on yourself, the do it for yourself. Because I was curious to ask and to hear from you, if you were to say anything, to pass something down to, let's say, like an aspiring hairstylist, or not even that, just someone from what you've been through, what you learned through life, what would you want to say from what I've been through in life, whatever you're going, just do this? What would it be?
I would say go into it with an open mind.
Okay.
And be compassionate and understanding, because you never know like why that person had a bad day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just go in there and never stop learning, never stop growing, because you'll shut doors that should never have been shut.
Right.
I mean, it's not easy. You got to put in the work. You got to take the time to do everything, but go into it with an open heart and an open mind, and know that that's really, really what you want to do. Yeah. If you really want it, it'll happen.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's really what I want people to, if they're going to catch anything from this, catch that. That's perfect. Coming from somebody that's, we've hit the rock bottoms and we've hit the highs and still, climbing and this.
And just not to care about what other people say. Like, I mean, people are always going to find something wrong with you. Like, if you don't like my, how I'm dressed, or you don't like whatever you don't like about me, cool. Yeah. Cool. Like, there's things I don't like too, but I don't I don't have the need to say it. Yeah. There's no
exhaust yourself.
Yeah. There's really none. Once you learn and master all of that, you'll realize how much happier a person you'll be when you stop caring about or stop trying to be involved in circles, or I feel like everybody wants this big old group of friends and this core, but when you realize that you have your core group of friends or your family or whoever it is that is your core, and you realize that nothing else is going to matter to you, not what people say about you, how they make you feel. If you can walk in a room and light up that room with your vibe all on your own, you don't need a circle of friends, right? Like, you don't need that. Like, you can light up a room like, hey, I've never needed anybody for anything. Yeah. Like, figure it out. That was the best advice my dad could tell me. Figure it out. Figure it out. Because I'm still figuring out this thing called life, right? Yeah, but like, I figured it out one step at a time. Yeah. I don't got life figured out. Right. But I got, at least right now, figured out. Up to this point, I have it figured out. Yes.
The present, and whatever comes, we just prepare as best as we can. Because, this life can blindside you. Because like you were talking about, hey, like things get thrown at you and whatever you've been through, whatever. But also the things that blindside us, that we're not, it's hard for us to tell what's going to happen tomorrow. And that's one of those things that, you hear it a lot. It can sound kind of cliche or whatever, but it's true. You don't know, like in our culture, they say, oh, just give thanks you woke up, you have health, and you're present, like what's in front of you.
I mean, we can plan a whole year in advance, right?
All day. Yeah, like you said, your whole client.
What if on the drive home?
Right.
You really never know. That's why I always tell people whenever they say, oh, you're always so happy, you're always all like living your life, right? I'm like, well, what if tomorrow I don't get this opportunity to live what I was supposed to live today, this moment? Right. Yeah. That's why I said, like, if anything I can do, I want to leave them a lasting good memory of myself. Not that I was, a jerk, or not that I was like, whatever. We out at a bar together, we all getting drunk together. It's not like, if I'm eating, we're all eating. Like,
Yeah, I love that. That's
no cool. Man behind.
Yeah.
No man behind. I want to be the consultation guy.
That'd be cool. Front. I know. It's like, I mean, you earned it. I feel like you'd be solid
I
for
would,
it.
I would. I'd be like, what's up?
Solid for it. Yeah.
I wouldn't be like the ones when you walk into, who are you here to see?
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, well, not you, sir.
You know what's funny though is like my consults are like this. We're just hanging out. Like my last consult. Yeah, but I'm saying like the walk in traffic is it's all appointment only, just like you said. And I still get the phone calls, but they become appointments. So, and common courtesy, if I'm tattooing, it's like I just lock it now, because it's like, it's nice not to need to worry about it too. Yeah. And it's kind of like, but I'm like, oh shoot, we're the same. We want to take care of people, and it's hard for us to say no at times.
I'm going to come on my days off. I'll be your like desk Yeah.
and just be like, wow, it's dead today.
I'm going to fire myself. It's pretty dead today. You didn't really need me.
So I think, I hear the door like, and I quick, because I want to take care of them, and I open them. Oh, come on in. It's just I don't do walk-ins anymore. But it's like, oh, do you have time for walk-ins? I'm like, I don't. But if you do want to consider waiting,
that's another thing. Like that's another thing that's wrong. Like everybody's on a I schedule.
Right?
I want, I need, I phone, I. You know what I'm saying? There's no everything we able to get self gratification instantly that we don't need it anymore.
Right.
So like you appreciate those people who are on like schedules
that send you the hey, it's hard times. Here's on me.
Well, not even that. I'm talking more about, but yeah, that was super awesome.
That's dope. Yeah.
It was more of a they make appointments.
Yeah.
And they're working with you around their schedule. That's why they make appointments, because they say they're busy.
Yeah. Right.
So that's why, so when other people say, well, why does this person always have like Wednesday at 10 o'clock?
Yeah.
I said, she's had Wednesdays at 10 o'clock for 20 years. That's why.
Yeah.
And she shows up at every single one of them.
Yep.
That's money that I've made from her for 20 years.
Yeah.
Where you get the people that, things never work for them. Like, maybe they don't have the money, or maybe something did come up, or maybe they have COVID, because that's the one we still hear a lot. Oh, I have COVID, right?
Yeah, it's hard.
It's one of those things that you're like, sure. I said, but I won't be able to get you in for, like 6 more weeks.
Yeah.
But I need my hair done. I'm not the one that counseled.
Right.
Like, I get it.
Yeah.
But this is what I have open next. Like, I have people that are constantly coming in. It's a rotation, it's a rotation, and I got to keep it going.
That's true.
And
I tell people the same thing. I'm like, what times, days, and I'm still like I'm still trying to accommodate you, but I just need to know what works for you, times and days. And before you say weekends at the moment are off, like no weekends. But if you tell me during the week what times and days work for you, I can then cross-reference schedule, and then I'll tell you my availability. Or it's like, hey.
Yeah, help me help you.
Yeah, or it's like, oh, is this date the soonest? I'm like, how long have you thought of this idea? How long have you had it? It's like, okay, well, then that's enough time for you.
That's like me. They're like, do you have anything this week? I'm like, no.
How long has your hair been busted? Like,
yeah.
You just...
No, but they'll be like, oh, so when's your next available?
Yeah.
I'll give it to them, right? They're like, you don't have nothing this Friday?
Mm.
You asked, when is my next available? I gave it to you. And you're asking, do you have this Friday? Right. Like, shoot me dates that work for you.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
A lot of the time I can't accommodate them, but still shoot me out.
At
least I know what time do you get off of work?
Yep.
What time do you go into work? Like, can I make it work for you?
And that's even a lot of work on our end to be like,
yeah, I'm like the hairstylist. I'm the one taking the pictures for the Instagram. I'm the one, doing the hair. I'm the one blow drying the hair. I'm the one doing it all. I'm the receptionist. I got to make it all work. Like, I don't have time for 25 questions that we're not going to figure out in a text message. Like, I don't have time to respond to all 25 questions that we already haven't even got nowhere on a date yet.
Yeah. It's literally like that.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's hard. Like,
2 days ago,
help you.
Yeah.
Hey, I can't make my appointment. Okay. Do you want to reschedule? Do you want to just cancel this one? Like, be more specific.
Right.
And I know that I probably sometimes on text message come across wrong because I just answer yes, no. I'm busy.
Yeah.
I mean, I got the watch.
I don't expect the hey.
I got the watch. So I could be like, talk to it instead of typing it. But then sometimes I can't. I just like can't. And then now I'm like, before my phone's in my back pocket and I don't care who texts me and I don't return it until now. I'm like, fuck, she's texting me. Fuck, I need to get her. And oh yeah, I forgot about that, right?
Do you ever do the thing where it's like you hide the phone, like you think they could see you? I've done that before, where it's like they're calling like, oh man.
No, but now I'm like, if I forget the watch, I'm like,
it's weird, huh?
Who's? I probably missed so many messages and like, you know, like my watch has been going off.
So that adds to the anxiety that I was talking about. The whole like that could be the idling on that anxiety of like,
because we're accessible now. Like I get text message at 11 o'clock at nighttime.
Yeah,
honey, I'm not doing hair at 11 o'clock. That's a booty call.
Yeah,
that's not no hair call. That's a booty call.
That's suspicious.
Huh.
Yeah. That's all bad. Yeah. So yeah, don't cut it at like 8 o'clock if you need to say something. From there on, it's like
after 8 o'clock, unless I'm at the salon, I don't return text messages or calls. Real. They're not going to return them to me until the next day anyway. So what's the point of me even doing that?
I've done that, and this was the year too where I was like, okay, I got to get better, of like the communication. But you're right, because at times it does seem like we're back and forth, and that's why maybe your message got lost because you still want to continue the. But what about? And it's like, can you please just tell me more, just the specifics?
Well, I've had that happen.
Yeah.
Like once, since says, hey, I need to reschedule my appointment,
Yeah.
and I said, okay, but I don't have anything until next day, and then they say, okay, right? So I'm assuming, okay, we canceled that appointment, right? Then they text me, I'm here, and then I said, wait, for what? And they're like, for my appointment. I said, I booked somebody else. You said you weren't coming. I go back, reference a text message. I'm like, right? And she says, oh, yeah, but you didn't give me a date for another appointment. I said, you didn't want one.
Did you automatically start like, what the heck, you know?
Well, no, I look at my mistake to see if it was my mistake.
If it was your bad.
If it's my bad, I got to fix this, right? But that wasn't my bad.
Yeah.
Like,
that happened to me recently, but dude was so cool about it. He thought, and I saw why he thought I said, like, for instance, a 16th. And I said 6th. And I'm like, and I looked back and I was like, I could see where it looked, you know, and then, but he was like, dude, if you got the time frame, I'll make it there in 10 minutes. I'm like, all right, man, you know, but, you know, obviously this isn't, I was pushing a few people out. The one time it did happen where they showed up and I was like your example, I was with my kids. So yeah, I definitely did not make this agreement or appointment.
well, sometimes you can't. Like, sometimes you cannot just drop what you're doing to accommodate that person.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you just can't. Like, I stopped working Saturdays. I worked Saturdays for 20 years. Yeah. Right? There was times where I worked both jobs and I had 0 days off, right?
Paid your dues.
Yeah. And so I don't work Saturdays anymore now, right? And yeah, there's days if it's going to be a big project and it's going to take me 5 hours, I don't have 5 hours in my regular day to do it. So I will go in on a Saturday, right? But that's at my discretion, right?
You took your own choice.
Yes, to do that.
Yeah.
But when people start asking me like, well, what do you need Saturdays off for? You don't have a family. Like, you don't have kids. I'm like, what does it matter what I'm doing with my Saturday off? Like, why don't you work Saturdays? Oh, well, because my office is closed on Saturdays. Cool. This office is closed on Saturdays.
This office is closed.
This office is closed on Saturdays.
Yeah, that's right.
So sometimes you have to kind of like put people back in boundaries, and not obviously I'm saying it in a humorous way right now, but I mean, sometimes you do have to say, I'm like, well, I just don't work Saturdays. I'm sorry. Right. There any other day I can accommodate you. It's just finding a nicer way to say it to people. But some people just, they'll push your buttons. Oh, I have a flight at 9 a.m. Can you still do my hair? I'm willing to go in earlier if you want me to.
Right.
Yeah, girl, I bet you would love to have fabulous hair on the plane. But guess what? I'm not getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to give you fabulous hair.
Crazy.
Like,
and you know, some people too, they're not used to like the way this works as far as appointments, or they're used to, like you said, they're used to people just jumping the gun for them or accommodating them.
They understand how it works because they're willing to pay for other things, right? Like when they nickel and dime me about like, oh, well, I can't afford to do this. And then, you know.
See them over there with the Gucci, Louis V.
That, or they're talking about their vacations and no, you didn't want to put money in for this and you didn't want to, but you expect me to swallow the cost because I've known you for 20 years.
Therefore, it also kind of like, wow.
You get taken advantage of.
Yeah, just taking advantage.
Like, I mean, that's why you got to, you know, there's boundaries.
Do you weed out those people? You don't like
for the most part, I don't have those people anymore.
Okay.
I can tell you that the people who finagle like money-wise and situation are the worst ones, as opposed to someone who's never going to ask you, like, how much are you charging me for this? Yeah. Like, if they're just easier to deal with because they, you know, one, they have the money to do whatever it is that they're wanting to do. They're not questioning, why are you charging me so much? Yeah. Where the ones who, like, those are the ones that will come in with the J-Lo picture and think they're going to walk out looking like J-Lo because they brought you the picture of J-Lo. And I could only do their hair. And then they're like, well, my hair doesn't do this or my hair didn't do. Well, are you buying the purple shampoo that you need to? Are you doing the maintenance at home that you need to?
Yes.
Well, I bought it at Target. Yeah. Well, girl, then you're going to have Target hair. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. Like, you asked me what products I use, and if that's not in your budget, then maybe you need to get something that's a little bit less maintenance.
That you can maintenance. Yes. Yeah, that you can handle with the after. Yeah. I tell people, I'm like, same thing with your tattoos. Like, and when they want to start big projects, like, what do? Can you invest the time and the money to take on a project like this? Are you good to follow up your appointments? And it's like, maybe they don't know how this works. And I'm like, you want to get shoulder to wrist? Okay. Not one sitting, right? And he's like, oh, how long do you think it'll take? I'm like, sessions, my boy. What do you think? You know, there's some guys are still adamant about coming in. They think they're going to tap out session. I'm like, I don't do that. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna. For one, there's so many factors and so many reasons why. But at the same time,
I think the most I've ever done was 7 hours.
yeah, and
And I
that's
felt like
pushing it, dude.
no, I did because I
Yeah.
was shaking at that point.
I would say 5, the max 4.
But I remember my body was shaking.
Damn.
My body was like, enough.
How'd you wake up the next day with fevers, body shock?
It was more at nighttime,
At
like when I
nighttime?
was sleeping. When I was sleeping, was hot, cold, hot, cold, hot,
Yeah,
cold,
that
hot,
little,
cold. Like I couldn't adjust.
body's-
Like I was like freezing, and then I'd be like hot, and then I just couldn't figure out what was going on. And
Oh,
like,
man.
but I mean, I didn't hurt. I mean, I was
Yeah.
tender, but it didn't hurt. It was just more of like my body said enough.
Know your limit, know your tolerance for sure.
Yeah,
That's another thing. Wisdom of Cisco.
yeah. Do not come in here thinking you badass.
Yeah, you get humbled real
It's
quick.
okay. It's okay. It's okay not
It's
to be
okay.
badass. It's okay.
Yeah, not this time.
Yeah.
It's all right.
It's okay.
You're
my
already
friend.
badass when you're 18.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh yeah, I feel like they hurt a lot more now that I'm
Oh
older.
yeah, absolutely.
Like my pain tolerance was not what it was like when I was
Right.
21. You know.
yeah.
So yeah, definitely know your limits.
Know your limits.
Yeah, don't have to pull the transaction cancel card.
Dang
Yeah.
it. The way my bank account works. With that said, man, I appreciate you coming out. Thanks for being part of this community, part of the shop community, part of the dream. And
Thank you for having me and welcoming
yeah,
me and
I appreciate
embracing
you,
me
man. Absolutely, with open arms
and loving me so
Oh,
much.
wait. This episode has been brought to you by. I'm gonna warm it up. Yeah, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. This has been a great time. Cisco's been one of those guys that's been rocking with me since day one, and amazing stories. And those of you that are listening to this in any platform that you listen to your podcast, make sure to give it a like. Where can they find you? Where can they find your work?
I am at Estancia
Okay.
Day Spawn Salon, Willow and Ease.
Okay. Willow Knees. What's your Instagram?
For the salon?
Yeah.
Estancia Day Spawn Salon.
Well, for your own personal, like to DM to get you, like for your
for
work.
the hair
For
or
your-
for the
For the
other
hair,
stuff?
for the hair, and then the other stuff. You guys subscribe for $9.99.
No, it's Cisco_iconic
Okay,
on Instagram.
I'll have all that. I'll
Yeah.
have all that in the description, and make sure you guys follow. Give him a follow. Check out his work.
I
You
have
want to
to.
get tattooed on a red carpet, maybe, or like mink?
I
You
don't
want
know.
some sort of Persian rug.
I mean, if you're doing all that, that's gonna go on the OnlyFans, bro.
Oh my god!
I mean, come on.
Tattoo on the floor, and then you get to see the other tattoos. We count all his roses. Let us know if you give us a like if you want to count his roses.
All the hidden tattoos.
Yeah. Oh man. That'll be a good one.
Well, Becca's the only one that knows where the hidden tattoos are because she's the one that did them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, lucky her.
Oh, okay.
Lucky her that she's had to see all of that.
Lucky her. That's good. We'll have to find that. We'll have to revisit that.
You said we'll have to find
We'll
that.
have to find those.
No.
That's funny. Yeah, guys. Appreciate you guys making it to the end. We'll hear you on the next one. This is Tattooing Out Loud, Queen's Gold Tattoo Parlor. Thanks, Cisco, again, my guest for today, for coming in, man. Appreciate you so much.
Alrighty.
Much love. Thank you, brother.
You're welcome.